surgery, she developed lymphedema, LE, a cruel and chronic disease affecting 10 million Americans that occurs when the lymphatic system is compromised, leaving one with a lifetime of severe swelling and pain. What we found out later is its severity might have been lessened or possibly even prevented if only we were better informed. That's why I'm urging anyone facing cancer treatment to get educated. Talk to your doctor. Make it part of your cancer conversation. And if you have LE, share your story. With patients and doctors working together, we can learn and live. Learn more at lymphaticnetwork.org.
56, WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10. It's time to get up and get your day started.
Morant. Oh! A jawbreaker!
It's Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. The first hour of Sports 56 Mornings is brought to you by the Big Green Egg. Now, here are your hosts, Greg and Eli.
What a Monday. If you are a sports fan, and I would imagine everybody listening to this radio show is, ended up being a pretty eventful Monday with a lot going on. Of course, a lot involving this region of the country with the University of Memphis and the Pac-12 talk and all that good stuff. We will discuss that on the program today. The Grizzlies make a roster move less than a week before camp opens up. The Showboats name a new head coach and a general manager. We had 2 Monday night NFL games. So, yes, lots to get to on the program as we welcome you in to Sports 56 Mornings on this Tuesday, September 24th, 2024. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Zach Boyd, and our producer in training, Elijah Seegers, coming at you from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, it is where family and fun come together. Check them out at 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. And if you have not taken advantage of their biggest spa sale in history, it's still going on. Again, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. First hour of the program is brought to you by the great folks at the Big Green Egg. Currently 72 degrees. It'll get up to 80 today. We're going to see some sun. We're going to see some clouds. The forecast not as dire as it was yesterday when I gave it to you, as there's only about a 20% chance of rain, but you may see a stray shower or thunderstorm this morning. Then tonight, partly cloudy skies with cloudy skies late, but only a 10% chance of precipitation. We're looking at a low of 65. For your Wednesday, looks to be more clouds than sun, about a 25% chance of rain. High tomorrow of only 77 degrees. Coming up on the program today, Connor O'Gara joins us at 7:25 to talk all things SEC and college football. At 9:05, we will be visited by the new head coach of the Memphis Showboats, Ken Wisenhunt, former Arizona Cardinals head coach. Had a lot of success with the Cardinals, and then also was a head coach with the Tennessee Titans. He's a Super Bowl champion as an assistant coach with the Steelers back in Super Bowl 55. So Ken Wisenhunt with a lot of experience. He had been with the Alabama, and Nick Saban's staff last year. So Ken Wisenhunt takes over for the Showboats. We'll talk to him at 9:05. And then 9:40 or thereabouts, we will talk with longtime NFL writer, reporter, analyst, and author Mike Silver. He's penned a new book called The Why Is Everything, a story of football, rivalry, and revolution. It's a really cool story which documents the 5 young stud coaches, well, you could argue stud or not, but the 5 coaches that were all on the Washington staff several years ago and now are all head coaches. Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, Matt LaFleur, Mike McDaniel, and Raheem Morris. And he had a chance to talk with all those guys, visit with them, got some pretty good access to what makes them tick, the young guns in the NFL, and he's written a book about that, so we'll talk to him at 9:40. In between, we'll take your calls and texts on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines at 901-360-8255. And as I said, plenty to talk about as far as the Pac-12 and expansion and the Memphis side of things, and also the Grizzlies with the move that they made and what it will mean for the roster. That's all coming up today here on Sports 56 Mornings. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
How's it going?
Fantastic. It was quite a day yesterday.
It really was. Every 5 seconds there was a story that was coming out, mainly about the situation in the Pac-12. So, again, for people that were hibernating yesterday, maybe we're off social media for whatever reason, and don't have all the information. Again, Memphis was courted by the Pac-12, as was Tulane, as was USF, as was UTSA. All four of them standing in solidarity as they announced jointly, and they never said they officially got an invitation from the Pac-12 or didn't even mention the Pac-12 at all. But we know what was going on. The four of them staying put in the American Conference after the reported overtures from the Pac-12. They made a joint statement. Part of that statement said, "Together we are committed to continuing to build the American brand, exploring new opportunities for exposure and value, developing innovative economic resources, all in service of our student athletes." Memphis had a separate statement that they made. We'll get to that in just a second. But a lot of people have been polarized over this topic. A lot of people are upset that Memphis has not moved on to a different conference, that they despise the Americans so much. Others, the realists like ourselves, understand the situation, understand the financial impact, and it just didn't make sense. So the four of them will stay in the American Conference, at least for the time being.
Yeah, it's again, there was a lot to weigh to try and figure out what the best path was. I never thought financially it could ever make sense. Said it from day one. I don't understand why a group of Mountain West Conference teams and a few American Conference teams was suddenly going to be extremely valuable to any TV networks. With the exit fees and everything else that you got to weigh in and the extra travel, all that stuff. I mean, not surprised that they would make the decision that it's just not the right financial decision. And in the end, it all comes down to the financial part of it. And so, Tim Pernetti has talked a lot about trying to find different revenue streams for the American Athletic Conference. Hopefully they're able to do that and make more money in the American. But, I think fans would have hated the Pac-12. I said, like the 9 o'clock games and stuff like that. I think people would have been. It surprises me how there are people that are like upset that they didn't make this move. It just, all you were doing, you would have been joining a conference that yes would have been a little better from a competition standpoint, but that is it. Like that's it. Like you weren't. It's not a stature. You weren't going to become a power conference. There was no automatic bids to the college football playoff, anything like that. And the money just, it's all hypothetical at this point. But the money probably wasn't going to be there. So I don't know what would have really been why you really want to just go get better competition and nothing else.
Yeah, look, I understand some of the folks out there. The fans wanting something different, tired of East Carolina and Tulsa and the likes in the American Conference. Okay, I get it, but it had to be the right move. You just can't make a move to make a move. Now, I am surprised that there are some journalists that are irate and don't understand why they didn't make a move. I don't get it. I don't get their point of view. But let's do a real quick recap. As you said, we don't know what kind of media package they would have in the future for this revamped Pac-12, a shell of what it used to be. Certainly not autonomy, not an automatic spot in the playoff, nothing like that. It's basically the Mountain West on steroids with Washington State and Oregon State. People forget that Boise State was here last year in Memphis. They drew about 30,000 announced. I mean, all of a sudden people are looking at it going, oh my gosh, you're going to lose out, man. You would have had 45,000 for Washington State and Oregon State. No, you would not have. Okay, that's number one. Number two, financial impact. Like I said, we don't know what kind of money they can get. We don't know what networks they're going to be involved in. More than likely, there's a possibility of a TNT. Maybe there'll be some money there, maybe there won't be. But you can't go on blind faith. You can't go on what possibly could happen. Right now, you know you have a contract, the American does, with ESPN through 2031. The look-in next year, by the way, and Dan Wolken had this out there on Twitter yesterday, but I had found this out the other day as well and confirmed it, that they can't lessen what you're bringing in. They can't go in the look-in and say, even though you lost Houston, Cincinnati, UCF, SMU, we're going to lower the amount of money that we agreed upon with this contract. They can't do that. They can only increase it. Now, they're probably not going to increase it, but they can't lower it. So you're still going to make pretty good money for a group of five. In fact, the best of the group of fives, 7.5, whatever that money is. Then let's talk about the buyout. The buyout rumored to be around $25 million. Reportedly, the Pac-12 was willing to pay $2.5 million, not the complete buyout that we had heard. The first four teams that exited the Mountain West were going to have happen to them, the Boise States of the world. And I'm not sure if that's even true, but if it is, okay, that's great. It wasn't going to happen to Memphis, Tulane, USF, and UTSA. So you're talking about a lot of money for the buyout. So now you're already behind the eight ball. Then again, you lose the relationship with ESPN. Who knows what networks you'll be on, what times you'll be playing, all those long trips, the expenditures that add up for playing teams on the West Coast or on the western portion of the United States, especially for the non-revenue Olympic sports and all that travel. It just wasn't the right move. Not now. Who knows what will happen? But you can't make a move just to make a move. Again, if you have an opinion about this, and I'm sure you do, and it's been pretty polarizing, this topic, text in on the Sissy's Log Cabin text line at 901-360-8255 and give us a good reason if you're saying they should have moved. They should have went to the Pac-12. Give us a good reason why you think so we could talk about that.
And anybody that thought the Pac-12 was going to be able to pay all of those exit fees, that was never even a possibility. Again, you're talking about it would be over $100 million just for the American Athletic Conference teams.
Yeah, they bankrupt themselves before they got started.
Yeah, they've got extra money because of the exit fees those teams paid when they left the Pac-12, but they don't have, it's not enough to pay everybody's exit fees from all of these conferences.
Right.
And they're actually got to pay extra poaching fees to the Mountain West. There was no way in the world they were ever going to pay be able to pay the full American Athletic Conference exit fees. Again, Memphis, you're trying to raise so much money right now at the University of Memphis. The last thing they can do is come up with another $20 to $25 million. Literally, the only way, unless you just went to Fred Smith and said, Fred, will you pay the exit fee too? That would be the only way. They're trying to come up with all of this money right now. There's no way they could figure out a way to pay that exit fee.
Just think about this. Here's the conversation. Hey, we need $20 to $25 million to get out of this putrid conference so we can make less money in this other conference that is just a little bit more competitive than what we have. Now, if Tulane and USF and UTSA were leaving and they were all thinking separately as opposed to a group thought, which it ended up being that, and the solidarity and kumbaya and all that good stuff, then Memphis, I think their hand would be forced. But these are intelligent people. They understand the situation. You're not going to spend all this money to leave to make less money for a conference that is a little bit more competitive. Again, it's crazy how people completely forgot that Boise was in town last year. And Boise's at the top of the Delta Pledge class. Yeah, they're going to get sellouts. Man. Once the new renovated stadium is in place in 2026, Fresno State comes rolling in, you're getting 60,000. Well, 50, whatever the hell the capacity is. No, it's crazy talk. Yes, you would like to get new blood and more competitive opponents, but right now that just did not make any sense. Here's the statement from the University of Memphis. The landscape of college athletics has shifted dramatically in the past few years. With that, our focus has remained on ensuring our student athletes are given the best possible environment to perform their sports and academics at the highest level. After considering other potential options, we have decided our current partnership with the American Athletic Conference is in the best interest of our student athletes and the future of our university. Now, that's the kind of statement you expected. In reality, it's still the Jerry Maguire situation. Show me the money. If the money was good enough, Memphis was gone. Let's not pretend it's something else. That's what it is. If the money made sense where they would be going to another conference, making more money than they're making now, the exit fee wouldn't be extravagant, they would be gone. That's not the case. It's that simple, cut and dry.
Raider Corey texted on the Sissy's log cabin listener and says, I could be wrong, but the name Pac-12 is what people may be hung up on. The name, yes, in the past the Pac-12 meant something, but not now. It was a very wise decision to remain in the AAC.
Yes, I think they are hung up on it. Now, the Pac-12 still has a meaning, but does it have the substance that it once had? Not even close. But it does have some impact from a name point of view. I think a lot of people they don't have all the information, and they're thinking that the Pac-12 is going to all of a sudden be back to the Pac-12 where they got an automatic spot. They're going to have autonomy. They're going to be back to a Power 5. That's not the case. This is going to be a group of 6 conference. They're going to be added into the mix.
I mean, it's the Mountain West. Like in the end, it's going to be the Mountain West plus 2 teams.
Yeah. So here's what else is going on.
You can take the Mountain West and you can rename it anything you want. It's the Mountain West.
Yeah, and here's what else is going on. So very confusing last night because there was a story every 3 seconds about who they are now courting and what those teams that are being courted have said. First of all, it did appear when I went to bed that Utah State was going to commit. And now I'm not so sure. And Utah State's horrible.
Well, Utah State, yeah, I mean, it's funny because it appeared as like the Mountain West, these teams were going to, the rest of them that were still in the Mountain West were kind of going to agree, like, no, we're not going to break this thing up. We're going to stick together.
Right, the solidarity
and then
stuff
Utah
again.
State apparently just went rogue. It was like, screw y'all. We don't care. Y'all do what you want to do. We're going. And so now that if they leave, that puts everybody in limbo because now they don't have 8 teams. And so they all have to figure out what, who knows? There's a lot of battles going on there, I guess, within the Mountain West to try and figure out, because if Utah State leaves, then it's everybody back on their own trying to find a landing spot because you don't have a conference.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Utah State, first of all, again, that's crap. That's going to the bottom of the barrel. You might as well go for New Mexico State next. It doesn't do anything for me. But that was the word that they were gone. We don't know now if they are or not because, again, as you said, if Utah State leaves or anybody leaves, one team leaves, that drops them from 8 to 7. So now they're below the threshold. They're below the minimum amount of teams you have to have for this conference. It would also mean only one addition to the Pac-12. They would still have to get another team to get to the minimum 8. Now you have UNLV. UNLV, first it was, they're definitely not going with that solidarity thing. Now we're not so sure. Maybe they still could go. Air Force is the one that I think is pretty solid, that they announced that they are definitely staying in the Mountain West. We have... Now, late last night, Nevada's name had popped up. San Jose State's name has popped up. Obviously, schools that are still in the Mountain West that the Pac-12 may be so desperate that they'll have to take these teams back on the rebound after not inviting them the first go-around. There's also the talk that Gonzaga could be invited for basketball only. That's been out there. But also a weird one with Connecticut, that Connecticut could be invited for football only, where basketball remains in the Big East. It's just so confusing. Look, I understand the powers that be left, whoever they are, with the Pac-2 before now the additions of the Mountain West teams, that they're trying to resurrect this conference. And desperate times bring about desperate measures. But once the American Conference and those teams said, thanks but no thanks, it puts them in a dire situation just to get to the 8. But it will also mean ramifications for the Mountain West. It's not a power conference. It's a little bit more competitive. Yes, Memphis playing the likes of Oregon State, Washington State, Boise State's cool, but it's not like they're playing Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State. This is not a power conference. And if you're going to make less money, or at least you don't know what you're going to make, you can't say yes to the invitation, even though it probably wasn't a formal invitation, because the only time they do that is when they know they're getting the teams. So that, again, I don't know why it's so confusing to people.
Yeah, and I guess only one of these, either the Pac-12 or Mountain West, will survive. It doesn't look like both could. It doesn't look like both could be at 8 teams. There just doesn't seem to be enough out there, I guess. Maybe if you bring UConn in and UTEP into the mix, like you could end up with 2 8-team conferences out there. Whatever that will be, who knows? But I mean, the bill, financial bill right now from the Pac-12 to the Mountain West, if they do get Utah State, is getting upwards of $150 million. Like, what? How is that? To end up, it just doesn't seem like this makes any sense from their perspective. You're going to pay $150 million just to basically have your 2 teams join their conference, but you're going to call it the Pac-12?
Right.
Like, it seems like a horrendous move for Washington State and Oregon State in the end. Like, you're just paying a bunch of money to join the Mountain West, but call it the Pac-12. That's
That's why I said when the news first came out that those 4 teams were leaving the Mountain West to go to the Pac-12, to me, my first thought was, why not a combination where you have an East and a West and bring in all those American teams and have the best of the rest from the West, and then you have, let's say, a 16-team conference.
Because there's not enough money for that.
But maybe that's a little more appealing, though, to a startup college football network like TNT, if that's the way they're going, since they're going to lose the NBA after next year. Maybe something across the country with an East and a West with 16 teams with the likes of Memphis to go along with the Boise's, the Oregon States, the Washington States. Maybe it's a little more appealing from a financial standpoint. I don't know. I just know that this isn't, that this is not.
But the thing, and I said it from day one, like that, all that was creating more splitting of money that wasn't there. Because most of these places aren't great television market. Like these just aren't. Again, these conferences are already shown what they are worth to television networks.
Right.
There was no way we're going to fool these people like, hey, let's combine them in a different way and they'll think they're actually better. No, like they are what they are. Like these 2 conferences, they've been told what they're worth. Like putting them together in a different shape wasn't going to suddenly make some television network go, oh my God, this is amazing. Like it just is what it is. There was never, the TV money was never going to be a great increase. Again, for the Mountain West, very little risk. No risk, really. That's why I'm surprised more of these teams wouldn't just jump over there. But you didn't have an ESPN connection, and you were making very little from the Mountain West. You probably get it. But, I mean, in the end, they need to just all get in a room.
Fight it out.
Figure out who's going to survive. Who are the ones in this, whatever we want to call it. Call it the Mountain Pack 6. I don't care. Mountain Pack 8, whatever. And then the rest of y'all, sorry, y'all going to have to go find your own way. We don't want you in this conference. There ain't enough of you to survive on a conference of your own, so start finding your own home or whatever. But like it's so bizarre to me that Washington State and Oregon State are going to pay all of this money to just bring a bunch of big Mountain West teams in to join them just so they can call it the Pac-12.
Yeah, but also right now, the way it is.
Although if the Mountain West dissolves and no longer exists, then they don't have to pay that money. So that's they're probably their path out of there. Like, okay, if we just get enough of them where the Mountain West has to dissolve, we don't owe anybody any money because they don't exist.
That's wishful thinking from a financial standpoint. But again, they couldn't survive the way it's going right now to be a part of the playoff because they, even though are playing a Mountain West schedule, they're not part of the Mountain West where they can get the group of 5 bid to the playoff. So they have to get themselves associated with a conference. It's not going to be a power conference, but they got to get themselves associated with a conference. So they're like, well, let's rebuild from the phoenix rising from the ashes. Let's rebuild the Pac-12. It'll be a shell of what it is, but maybe we can be the best of the group of 6 and then thusly get one of our teams into the playoff. Shoot 360 Memphis, from preps to pros, this place is cool. It's just a fun place to get better in the game of basketball, a better shooter, if that's what your desire is. They have the instructors to help you out. And they got some really cool things that are coming up that I'll be announcing very, very soon as far as some perks that you will get when you become a member. Remember now, you can sign up on a monthly membership basis. So you sign up for that first month. If you like it, you continue. If not, no harm, no foul. But we're talking about camps and clinics and personal training. It's all going on at Shoot 360 Memphis. They have the new Cordova location open up. It's a newly renovated 50,000 square foot facility, 2 NBA regulation size courts, 3 high school size courts, 4 shooting bays with Shoot 360 technology. Unreal if you haven't been over to visit. This training facility combines cutting-edge technology with gamification, provides instant objective feedback with hands-on, one-on-one expert coaching. Find out what's going on right now, but I'm going to tell you about it here soon. All kinds of things and all kinds of perks going on if you become a member at Shoot 360 Memphis. You can go online to register at Shoot 360 Memphis or call the great folks, set up a tour at either the Collierville or the Cordova location, 901-316-5500. It's where the pros, the preps, and everybody goes to get their shot on. It's Shoot 360 Memphis. When we come back, Connor O'Gara joins us. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
We're going abroad for the first time in years, to Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast. With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas? When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
Is your house or your office moving? Impossible! Not if you call Wilson's Pro Wash. Your house, fence, driveway, warehouse, store, hotel, even cars and trucks can all be squeaky clean and beautiful after pressure washing by Wilson's Pro Wash. Wilson's specializes in cleaning all hard surfaces, concrete, stone, brick, and mortar, even wood and vinyl siding. Then Wilson's can seal their surfaces so they stay looking brand new. Call Wilson's Pro Wash, 901-524-6799, or online at wilsonsprowash.com. A lot of ladies here in Memphis are wearing beautiful diamond rings. Have you noticed? And a lot of gentlemen are wearing nice Rolex watches now. It's all thanks to Genesis Diamonds. Hey, it's Eric Hasseltine, and Genesis Diamonds has made fine jewelry more affordable than ever. This is Tennessee's direct diamond import. No middleman pricing on the finest GIA certified diamonds. All shapes, all sizes, all in prices you never thought possible. And Genesis is the only jeweler that carries the top bridal designers in America. So you can find the perfect setting to showcase that diamond and have a truly one-of-a-kind ring. And something that I love, their incredible collection of luxury premium Rolex watches. These are all in pristine condition and priced right. Thanks to Genesis, you can get that Rolex you've dreamed about. All this with no commission salespeople, no pricing games, no pressure, no nonsense. Genesis Diamonds, the official jeweler of the Tennessee Titans, and Rob Warrenburg is extended. Online at GenesisDiamonds.com. Listen each and every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and join Ottawa Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawa is a PCUSA church located in town Memphis.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. It's starting to get a little bit heavier in the last few minutes on 40 coming westbound from Germantown Parkway all the way to Sycamore View Road. We've also watched the traffic volume increase on 240 in both directions. Actually, over here around Poplar, up by Walnut Grove, as that traffic volume starts to build pretty good coming up from South Haven on 55 going northbound all the way into South Memphis. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry serving the Memphis area now for over 40 years. No matter what the occasion is, stop by and see them first at Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome back, everyone. 7:30 the time. Just underway on this Tuesday, September 24th, 2024. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Zach Boyd, and our producer in training, Elijah Seegers, coming at you from the Family Leisure Studios. We'll talk some NFL, a couple of Monday night games from last night. We'll do that in hour number 2. We'll talk about the Grizzlies and their latest roster move and what it may mean for camp next week and for the future as far as filling a roster spot. They have, I guess, 2 roster spots open now. They don't have to fill both of them, but we will discuss that. But right now it's time to discuss college football, specifically the SEC, with Connor O'Gara.
It's time to talk some SEC and college football. Joining Greg and Eli is Connor O'Gara from SaturdayDownSouth.com and SaturdayTradition.com. Here's Connor O'Gara with Greg and Eli.
Connor's the senior national columnist for Saturday Down South, the host of the Saturday Down South podcast. You can follow him on Twitter at CJ O'Gara. Listen to him every other week on Tuesdays, talking with us here on Sports 56 Mornings. How are you?
Gentlemen, doing well. How about you guys?
We're good. Yesterday was kooky, and that'll probably continue today with this whole Pac-12 Mountain West thing, but we know that Memphis is not leaving. So before we dive into the SEC, and I'm not sure how much you've been keeping up with that story, do you understand kind of where things stood that Memphis and Tulane, UTSA, and USF, South Florida, reportedly getting offers, or at least the inquires from the Pac-12 people, and then saying, no, we're going to stay in solidarity in the AAC, and we're not going to accept any kind of invitation if it comes to us to go to the Pac-12.
I like it, and I think it caught a lot of people by surprise just because with realignment, it tends to go in favor of the bigger conferences. If you get that offer, the assumption is, okay, you're going to take that opportunity. We saw that obviously already play out within the AAC with those Big 12 departures. And so I think the expectation was kind of, okay, this is how the Pac-12 is going to have this resurgence. And for them to have this united front and say, you know what, no, we're sticking in the AAC. For one, it speaks to the strength of the AAC. And I said this coming into the year, and I'm very curious if this is going to play out year over year and if it's going to take people a bit of time to process it. But I think the AAC champ is going to get that group of 5 bid on a yearly basis. I really do. I think the strength of the conference really lends itself to that. And while you can certainly throw in a Boise State every once in a while, and there are other teams, and the start that the MAC has gotten off to, I don't want to dismiss that, but I just think that the AAC is actually in a really good place with the way that it's been able to kind of restructure, and it hasn't collapsed, despite the fact that obviously you lost some of those bigger teams, including the one in my neck of the woods here in Orlando with UCF. But yeah, I like the fact that they show this solidarity, and I do think that looking at the playoff and the way this all sets up, I think it sets up really well for the future of the conference.
Although Memphis took a big, they lost to Navy, hurt the conference this past weekend. As far as that effort goes for this year, certainly because now everybody in the conference has a blemish on the record, and you got a team like Boise out there who only has the loss to Oregon. Now we'll see what happens going forward, but it seems like Boise and maybe James Madison now have the inside tracks to that spot this year.
Yeah, that's certainly possible, and it's kind of a reminder. It's a long season, and just because you get that one victory in non-conference play that suggests, wow, you actually have that path, there's just so much to navigate. And the good news is that it's got to go to someone, right? It's no longer the 14 playoff where you have to find the path for a 2021 Cincinnati or something like that, and then there are just still so many landmines to have to navigate. So it could very well go to a 12-1 team. I mean, I think that's very realistic. And you saw Northern Illinois losing over the weekend to Buffalo. It's like, well, yeah, that kind of happens. Just because you beat Notre Dame in South Bend doesn't mean that you're destined to run the table. So I think it is a reminder, and there is a little bit more room for error, albeit not a whole lot if you're trying to lock up that one bid.
Yeah, the ebbs and flows of a college football season for every team. One day you're higher than a kite, and the next, or 1 week, and then the next week it's depression here in Memphis after the loss to Navy. That's sports, and that's football from a week-to-week basis. Connor O'Gara joining us on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest lines. Okay, before we dive into what's going on this week in the SEC, last week over the weekend, Tennessee goes into Norman, does it mainly with defense as they get the 25-15 win. Are you impressed with the defensive performance? How are we looking at Tennessee now after that nice win in Norman?
If you are still of the belief that Tennessee is overrated and this is just feels like 98, must be hyping up the balls, I would say actually watch this team play, because I made the case for them on Saturday night. They're the most impressive team so far in college football, not just in the SEC, but truly think about the lack of weaknesses that they have, and think about what they did on Saturday night in Norman. And even if you think Oklahoma is going to end up being a 7-5 team, they're already going through a quarterback change, they have issues there. I think the defense for Oklahoma is really good, by the way, and they showed that against Tennessee. But even if you think that, think about the fact that Tennessee right now has a team that could beat you defensively. And Josh Heupel recognized that early on. The biggest knock against him coming into Tennessee was that he wasn't going to play complimentary football. Terry Mohadra, the UCF AD, gets to the podium after Josh Heupel leaves for Tennessee. And he's like, yeah, I talked to our players, and they wanted a coach who was going to play complimentary football. That was a direct shot at Josh Heupel. And look what he's doing right now with this defense that is just nasty. And the way that they are able to win like that, I mean, he had been 1-12 in his career as a head coach when his team didn't hit 30 points. And to win that way, I was unbelievably impressed. Tennessee's for real. Not just a playoff contender, but a legitimate national championship contender.
On the other side of that, are you surprised at all that Oklahoma's making the quarterback change this quickly?
Yeah, I am. I didn't really like the move at the time, and I guess it aged all right, because Michael Hawkins Jr. did some things as a true freshman that I don't think that Tennessee defense had seen yet this year. And maybe that's a question for Tennessee moving forward, is how do they handle mobile quarterbacks? We'll see how that works out with Jalen Milroe when that matchup comes to be. But I'm stunned. Guys, this was a former five-star quarterback in Jackson Arnold, who they brought with to SEC Media Days. All right, as a redshirt freshman, a guy who had one career start, they brought him with to SEC Media Days. And the entire conversation this offseason in Norman was, yeah, we let Dylan Gabriel hit the portal. We let him go to Oregon. Yeah, Jeff Lebby's off to Mississippi State. We're going to be just fine with Jackson Arnold and Seth Luttrell. Everything is going to work out. And it took them less than one half of SEC football to bail on that. Guys, this is stunning. People are just like, oh, you know what, it wasn't working out. No. This is the guy that was just behind Nico and Arch in the recruiting rankings, and you didn't get him a chance to be able to work through his struggles because of the 3-turnover first half, and you're already bailing on him. I think this is a very defensive-minded head coach move by Brent Venables, and I'm not crazy about it because, look, I think you needed to give that guy a little bit more time. I understand how bad it was for the first half of that game. This is also a receiver room that looks so different than what they thought it was going to be coming into the year. I'm stunned that they made this move already.
Tennessee and Ole Miss do not play in the regular season. Who knows? Maybe they could play in the championship game in the SEC. Right now, who do you believe is the better team?
Tennessee has been more impressive. And that's not to say that Ole Miss can't be more impressive, but, I mean, we're all looking at them going, buddy, nobody can stay on the field with them. They're up by double digits before you even sit down to watch them play.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't seem fair. I mean, Trey Harrison can get 200 receiving yards a game if he wanted to. It looks like it's just warm-ups for this team. Like, some of the times you'll flip on an Ole Miss game, you're like, is this like a replay or something? Am I watching this in slow? You're like, what? There's every 2 seconds, just wide open spaces, touchdown. And you know, credit Ole Miss because it beats the heck out of the alternative. Go ask Mizzou what it's like to struggle in some of these games that you're supposed to win by a ton of points. It's not fun. And I think Ole Miss has done a lot of things really well, but it's the competition. If they go into Death Valley in a couple of weeks and win that football game going away, we're going to have Ole Miss in a lot of those same conversations that Tennessee's in. But Tennessee doing what it did in 2 games away from home, to me, that's more impressive at this stage of the season. So I'd give Tennessee the benefit of the doubt.
What do you make of all of the stuff from Hugh Freeze? First, Bo Wallace goes off on him for throwing the players under the bus. Then now he's talking about if they played Arkansas 9 more times, they beat them all 9 times. What do you make of everything happening down at Auburn right now?
Not great, Bob. Not great. This reeks of desperation.
It does, doesn't it?
It really does. And I kind of asked that question about Hugh Freeze at the beginning of this offseason. Is this the move of a desperate coach to bail on both coordinators after his first season and to double down on himself and to say, I'm going to run it back with Peyton Thorne, and to make some of those moves that he did with not adding a single quarterback via the transfer portal? To me, I was like, is he kind of bailing on his plan already in a weird way? Because it kind of feels like it. And, man, to come out and say on Auburn Sports Network that the quote was, I mean no offense whatsoever at all to Arkansas or Cal. I love St. Pittman. I hope he wins the rest of his games. But I'm telling you the hard truth is we play them 9 more times, we beat them 9 times. No, you don't. No, you don't.
Yeah. How can you say that?
You're not good enough to say that. I don't care who. You can't say that about any. Auburn right now can't say that about hardly any team in America.
When I saw that tweet from my guy Trey Wallace, I was like, was this ripped off like a fan message board? And like, this is what a fan would say in like a comment to like a Saturday Down South story? Like, what are we doing here? What is Hugh Freeze talking about? You don't have a quarterback that knows how to read coverage. You're giving the ball away like it's a giveaway at the start of it, like it's a free T-shirt at the start of a game. What do you mean? To me, like, he's delusional already, and people are going to say, well, maybe it's the Auburn job. It just makes coaches delusional. I don't know, man. Like, this is bizarre to see this team perform the way it has at home, and if they lose to Oklahoma, a team that's searching for an offensive identity right now, if they lose that game, and if they have 3 losses at Jordan-Hare before the calendar turns to October, buddy, bad news bears for the future of Hugh Freeze.
Missouri, where do they sit in your opinion? They're 11th, obviously, in the country. They're undefeated. They had a tough one with BC, got the win, and then had a really tough one with Vanderbilt and got the win in overtime. Could have easily lost that game. I just don't know how good they are.
They're not a top 10 team, and I thought it was kind of a joke that I think the lowest they were ranked in the AP poll by any voter was like 12th. Guys, I don't know if they're a top 25 team. I really don't.
Wow.
I think that if you watch them, and Mizzou fans, you know, like, I'm right when I say that they have no sense of urgency. They do not put their foot on the gas. This offense that I thought was very likely going to be a top 10 offense in college football, it is struggling to do the things that they did really well last year. And they've actually found themselves a nice back in Nate Noel, who had a really nice game on Saturday. But they can't stretch the field vertically, which is a wild thing to say about an offense that has Luther Burden in it. Brady Cook on some of these design rollouts just doesn't look like he's got that killer instinct. Mm-hmm. They don't necessarily scheme particularly well. They make too many mistakes, and they're one of the worst teams in the country in terms of penalties. And you're trying to find this defensive identity where they can slow down a mobile quarterback like it's Diego Pavia. And instead, this team just doesn't have that one thing that they can turn to. I guess Luther Burden is that one thing that they can turn to, but they're not a top 10 team. I mean, they're getting the benefit of the doubt from that preseason ranking. There's no way about it. The schedule is super favorable. But they're like a borderline top 25 team in my mind, and I don't want to be talking about the playoff with them. I think they have too many potential weaknesses to even consider that. They have a lot to be able to figure out before the schedule gets difficult.
Alabama, Georgia. What's your feeling right now on it?
Man, I'm fascinated by the Jalen Milroe, Kirby Smart chess match. You know, a lot of people, just because of the way that it played out against Michigan, seem to have forgotten that Jalen Milroe is one of the best players in college football. Mm-hmm. It's a crazy concept, and so far this year in the Kalen DeBoer offense, he has looked the part. They've really done a nice job of working together to find that nice balance with design quarterback runs, with being able to still have that deep passing game. And I think he's progressing in the intermediate a little bit more than people are giving him credit for. But I do think that watching this play out against Kirby is going to be so interesting. You guys realize that the only quarterback to have ever beaten Kirby Smart twice is Joe Burrow. That's it.
Wow.
There was only one quarterback who beat Nick Saban twice. That was Jordan Jefferson, the LSU quarterback. But then in the third time that he faced him, it was 92 yards of total offense for LSU in the national championship. So this is a big deal for Jalen Milroe because Kirby always gets the last laugh. He gets the last laugh on pretty much anybody except Nick Saban. Nick Saban ain't on that sideline. I cannot wait to see how that plays out with all the juice that's going to be in that building for Jalen Milroe. It is such a huge moment for him and a huge moment, I think, for Kirby as well, to be able to get over the Alabama hurdle and to show that, hey, maybe in a post-Nick Saban world, he can have more success.
I agree. He's Connor O'Gara, senior national columnist for Saturday Down South. He's the host of the Saturday Down South podcast. Always has tremendous guests, so make sure to check that out. Follow him on Twitter at CJ O'Gara, and listen to him not each and every week, but every other week right here on Sports 56 Mornings. He always joins us on Tuesday during this time slot to talk SEC and college football in general. Connor, you're the best. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you in 2 weeks.
Gentlemen, appreciate it.
Genesis Diamonds, folks. When you go to Genesis Diamonds, one of the things that people love about the place is you're going to get that high-quality designer ring, a handcrafted ring that is the top of the line, but you're going to get it at a great value as well. You're not getting knockoff rings. You're not getting some crappy overseas rings. You're getting stunning designer rings made right here in America by the top designers. They've got all of them, and the rings made to last. So they have not only the best diamond selection, so you get the great diamond selection and great diamond value, you get those top quality rings as well from the top designers for the total package, and you get the free lifetime warranty as well, all at Genesis Diamonds. You're getting those direct importer prices on those diamonds from a person who used to be a wholesaler, has those connections to make sure they're able to get the best diamonds at the best prices. It's where luxury and value come together every single day. Genesis Diamonds, Poplar and Perkins Extended.
Crappy overseas rings. I love that. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Be sure to follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ.
Get your tailgate season going now and win a free tailgate package from Buster's Butcher. Stop in Buster's Butcher, 199 South Highland Street, and register to win an Ice Mule Cooler, 4 Yeti Coasters, a $200 gift certificate, and some Buster's branded swag. Tailgate package valued at $500, no purchase necessary, 1 entry per person. Winner drawn 10 a.m. October 1st. Buster's Butcher offering the finest selection of curated meats, cheeses, prepared foods, and more. Learn more at bustersbutcher.com.
Just a quick reminder, it's football season, and if you are not spending a little time each weekend watching college or pro ball at Bell Tavern, Memphis' perfect downtown neighborhood bar, people might be talking about you behind your back. See, everyone else has figured out that Bell Tavern, with its ice cold beer, signature cocktails, cozy atmosphere, and incredible staff, is the perfect place to while away a full Saturday or Sunday cheering on your team in a place where people act like adults, whether their team is winning or losing. Bell Tavern is not a sports bar, except when it is.
You're a contractor and you need concrete coating and supplies in Memphis fast, and you get this answer? I think we can order that stuff, but you're going to have to wait a few days for delivery. Why wait? Get your concrete coatings and supplies now at TSS Supply, where everything you need is in stock. If you're working in the tri-state Tennessee, Arkansas, Mississippi area, everything you need for concrete coating is at TSS Supply, 5665 East Rains Road, Memphis. TSS Supply specializes only in concrete coatings and supplies all in one place. If you're looking for a particular item, need large quantities, or just have general questions, call 901-729-0565, 729-0565, or you can email your question to Brad at tsssupply.com. The friendly, knowledgeable folks at TSS Supply have over 150 years combined experience in concrete coatings, materials, and supplies. Come by and visit TSS Supply Friday, September 27th. Sports 56 will be broadcasting live from 7 to 10 a.m. with Greg and Eli, and then John Harden from 11 to 1. Sports 56 will have free giveaways plus breakfast and lunch during the live broadcast. TSS Supply, 5665 East Rains Road.
Good morning. Still a big.
And operated for over 40 years, Automatic Gates Construction tailors custom gate solutions for all your residential, commercial, and industrial needs, including repairs, maintenance, and installation. Automatic Gates Construction specializes in designing and installing automatic gates and fencing that seamlessly blends security, functionality, and aesthetic appeal. Elevate the safety and efficiency of your property with a premium gate solution. Automatic Gates Construction at myautomaticgates.com.
Now back to Sports 56 Morning on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Big Green Egg. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
So the Derrick Rose era with the Grizzlies has come to an end. Of course, the classy Derrick Rose talking about his love for the city of Memphis, having been a part of the Tigers national championship run and coming up just a little short back in 2008, and then coming back to Memphis to play last year for the Grizzlies. Unfortunately, the injuries that Derrick Rose has suffered through over the latter part of his career really has taken a toll on him. He ended up playing only 24 games last year, averaged 8 points, 3.3 assists, 1.9 rebounds. He had signed a 2-year deal, and according to a couple of reports out there, it was basically an agreement for a buyout with Derrick Rose. So I read one report that said that Derrick had asked for something like this, but it's interesting, the timing of this. Camp opens 1 week from today in Nashville. Media Day is Monday. We've talked about, how we thought Taylor Jenkins would handle Derrick Rose, and I think DeMichael and I were on the same page, maybe not you, that he probably will go to Derrick Rose off the bench. But obviously now it's not the move they're going to be able to make, as he is gone. So I don't know if this was more from the team or from Derrick himself. But either way, there is now 2 roster openings for the Grizzlies going into camp.
I think this was probably through conversations that he wasn't going to play. There wasn't going to be time for him, and rather than hang around and not play here, he gets out, and I don't think he's going to find anywhere that he can play, but he could be out there if some team has an injury and needs somebody or whatever. But I just think this was the realization that there weren't going to be minutes for him here.
Well, I know these players certainly want to compete. That's why they play the game. And even when their time is winding down and even battling through injuries, they still want to be out there on the floor. That wasn't going to be a big part, apparently, of the game plan for Taylor Jenkins. But I was very surprised still that it happened. I thought that the mentorship we talked about last year, how important he was as a veteran player to help these young players on this Memphis roster, that he would finish up his career at Memphis, play one final year. Like you said, I can't imagine that he catches on with some team unless they want to bring him in for that same reason that he was brought in by the Grizzlies. More mentorship than actual play on the court. Although he was given the benefit of the doubt last year, played until he got hurt, which was inevitable, unfortunately. But now the question is, you're going to fill one of those spots, I would imagine, before the season starts. The other one I think you hold on to, because who knows what will happen with the bigs. But do you give Scottie Pippen Jr. a contract as opposed to the two-way contract he has? Do you try to get somebody else out there, a veteran, at the veteran's minimum? Do you hold off? I don't know what they do right now, but camp opens up next week.
I would guess that Scottie Pippen Jr. ends up getting it, but there's no need. You don't have to rush. You could use his 50 games on a two-way deal if you want to. And then once that's up, turn him into a regular contract.
Right. But do you go into the season with only 13 players under contract and have 2 open spots? It's almost unheard of to have 2 open spots on a roster.
Again, with the two-way players now, it's not with 3 two-way guys. Again, I mean, if you just don't convert it to a regular contract, but he's basically is.
He's there.
Yeah, he's going to be active for every game, and then when the 50 games run out, you'd convert it to a regular deal. Again, they may decide to convert it, I guess, earlier. They don't have to. They certainly could wait and save a little money, but I don't know how they'll approach that. But I would think that by the end of the season, Scottie Pippen Jr. ends up on a regular deal in one of those spots.
Oh, I think it'll be much earlier than that. By the end of the season, certainly. But I think by the All-Star break, maybe even earlier. And who knows, maybe they will decide to do it right away. But you're absolutely right. They don't have to rush that. They get the 50 games. He's going to play. He's going to be a backup. We'll see if they want to use him or they want to rotate the Desmond Baines and the Marcus Smarts of the world into that point guard position when Ja is getting a breather. But, again, interesting news nevertheless. Derrick Rose, who blew me away when I first heard him talk to the media after all those years, and the shy Derrick Rose that came to Memphis for that 1 year, that magical year. A lot has changed, obviously. To listen to him be an elder statesman, and some of the things he said, he had me mesmerized at this press conference I was at. So I really enjoyed having him back in Memphis. Just a shame that he will not be here for that second year of his 2-year contract. Grizzlies also announced that they will host an open practice. It'll be Sunday, October 6th at FedEx Forum. The doors will open at 11 a.m. So for all you Grizzlies fans out there, get to go watch them before the season tips off for free on October 6th at 11 a.m. Also from the NBA, the Knicks will not have Mitchell Robinson to start the season after having ankle surgery. Not sure how long he'll be out. Of course, with the center position, it's interesting. They lost Hartenstein, who's with Oklahoma City now. And I had read a story about Randall possibly moving into that 5. He's been basically a 4, but moving into the 5, especially with Robinson's injury, that may very well happen for the New York Knicks.
This hour is brought to you by the Big Green Egg. Go to biggreenegg.com to check out all the details about the best grill there is out there. Comes with that lifetime guarantee, so you don't have to worry about the grills you buy. You buy the cheaper grills. They rust out in a couple of years. You buy a new one every single couple of years. You got to buy a new grill. Well, with the Big Green Egg, you don't have to worry about any of that. Not to mention, it is the way better grill to begin with for anything you're trying to cook, whether it be you're going low and slow and smoking something for 8 to 10 hours, or you're firing it up to 700 degrees to sear a steak, or anything really in between. The Big Green Egg is the best grill there is. And they've got 7 different sizes for you to choose from. So if you're looking for maybe something small that's very portable to take out to tailgates, or something big to cook for the whole family, and a big family all the time, anything in between there as well. They've got you taken care of with the Big Green Egg. You can also go to the Ace Hardware stores in town. They've got the egg and all those eggs sizes for you to check out, plus the egg accessories as well that make it possible for you to do whatever it is you want to do on the best grill there is, the Big Green Egg.
We open up hour 2 talking plenty of football, NFL football from last night, and from right here in Memphis, a new head coach, a new GM for your Memphis Showboats. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Summer's heating up, and so are the savings at Choate's. We've got 3 incredible offers to make your season spectacular. First up, our Grill and Chill with Choates Summer Special. Upgrade your HVAC system and choose between a free Yeti cooler or a Green Egg grill on select systems. Then power through any outage with Choates generators. Be one of the first 50 customers to buy a generator and score a massive 75-inch TV or an iPad. Also, don't forget about our tankless water heater offer. Purchase a tankless water heater from Choates and receive a premium toilet free. Don't wait. These offers are too good to last. Turn to the experts with Choates and call 347-8086 or visit us online today for your free estimate. Now introducing Choates Air Conditioning, Heating, Plumbing, and Generators. Choates, let our family serve your family.
Family Leisure is having the world's biggest spa sale. It's happening right now. You can save thousands on in-stock hot tubs that are ready to be delivered. Family Leisure has spas that start at just $28.99. You know those cold plunges? You can get one for yourself starting at $39.99. Or how about swim spas? They start at $17,499. Plus, Family Leisure has set up special financing just for this event. Have you been sitting on the fence about an above-ground pool? Get off that fence and get to Family Leisure to take advantage of huge discounts on all their in-stock above-ground pools. And if you need some patio furniture, it's all priced to move out now. It's not too late to have some summer fun, courtesy of Family Leisure. But you better hurry up. The world's biggest spa sale might go on forever. Family Leisure. With and run at I-40. Family and fun come together.
All 650 acquisition fee, 20,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte, RE 794, 626, MSRP 21,820, Telluride RG 543,666, MSRP 39,835, Sportage S734,0278, MSRP 29,135, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, includes tax, title, and license, must finance through Hyundai with approved credit, valid through 9/30/24, dealer stock only.
Hey, Jeff Allen, I hear it's a family affair over there in Gossett Kia, South Mount Moriah.
Yep, we've got something for everyone. 41 MPG Highway and a 2024 Kia Forte LXS, $199 a month, $37.99 due at signing. 2025 Kia Sportage, $269 per month, $34.99 due at signing. And a 2024 Kia Telluride S front-wheel drive, $359 per month, $39.99 due at signing. And a 2024 Kia EV9 Lite rear-wheel drive has 0% for 72 months available. You haven't heard 0% in a long time.
Plus, all those bad boys come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
Join us celebrating 26 years of Napa Cafe. Hi, I'm Glenda Hastings, owner of Napa Cafe, and I'm inviting you over for dinner. Treat yourself tonight with a delightful dinner of scrumptious combinations, fresh salads, homemade soups, or maybe start with an appetizer, like our baked Dungeness crab dip with manchego cheese, lemon, garlic, and French baguette toast. Drift into one of our fresh seafood dishes, like the caramelized sea scallops with curry beurre blanc, black forbidden rice, and Thai mango salad. Or our ancho honey glazed salmon with creamy black bean puree, avocado pico de gallo, and jalapeno crema. Maybe you're looking for something cozy and comforting, like our Duroc pork chop with apple brandy demi-glaze and blue cheese bacon mashed potatoes. We have something for everyone. Napa Cafe, open Wednesday through Saturday for dinner starting at 5 o'clock. For reservations, visit our website at napacafe.com. Come join us as we celebrate 26 years of Napa Cafe. I'd sure love to see you.
Traffic brought to you by 901 Eats to Go, 3135 Kirby Whitten Road in Bartlett. Pick up, DoorDash, Uber Eats, or online at 901eats.com. Eats with the Z. Good food fast.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. Still a bit crowded on 40 East coming across the Hernando de Soto Bridge over from West Memphis. It's trying to load up with a little bit more volume in the last few minutes on 385 Billmores Parkway as you come past Riverdale all the way up to 240. Hey, don't miss the Paw Prince Party coming up this Saturday at the Humane Society of Memphis, Shelby County. Take a tour, meet some of the animals. For more information, log on to memphishumane.org. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis with John Harden. Weekdays from 11 to 1.
Now
back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Genuine diamonds, baby.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 8:03 the time. Hour 2 here on Sports 56 Mornings. It's the Tuesday, September 24th, 2024 edition. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Zach Boyd, our producer and trainer, or in training. Elijah Seeger is also with us. We are broadcasting live from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, where family and fun come together. 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Currently 72 degrees, going to get into the low 80s today. Chance of rain, although not as high a chance as it was yesterday when I gave you the forecast. Be mostly cloudy, though.
Yeah.
What's that? College football, specifically the SEC. Hey, that's me. A ventriloquist act going on. Bet 81 degrees today for a high, and again, a chance of rain. Hour number 2 of the program brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers. I will tell you a little bit more about them in a moment. I do want to tell you about another great sponsor of ours. They've been with us for a long, long time, and that is Pinnacle Roofing and Restoration. For all your roofing and home repair needs, call Brandon McCullough at 901-438-5084 or go online to newroofmemphis.com. Residential, commercial roofing, they can take care of you. Property managers, business owners, homeowners. If you have a leak or any other roofing problem, call Brandon today. They'll come out and do a free roof inspection. 5-year labor warranty on the purchase of a new roof. All their work, satisfaction guaranteed. So call Brandon at 901-438-5084 or go online to newroofmemphis.com.
It is time for Humdinger's Trivia. It's your opportunity to win a $25 gift certificate to Humdinger's, which, of course, we give you that chance every single Tuesday. And, of course, every single Tuesday at Humdinger's, that is Taco Tuesday, where you can get the chicken or fish tacos for just $2 each. That's each and every Tuesday at Humdinger's. Of course, if you're not Tuesday or if you're not in the mood for the tacos, all kinds of great items on that menu. Sitting here looking at humdingersrestaurant.com right now, checking out the menu from the appetizers like the crispy calamari or the crab cakes or the Humdinger's shrimp or the wings. Of course, from the main menu, the entrees, you've got all the grilled fish options. You've got great sandwiches. You've got all kinds of different things that you could choose from on that beautiful menu over at Humdinger's, of course, on the website as well. Information right there about catering. If you got an event you need catered, they could certainly take care of you. You can also order online on the website. Again, humdingersrestaurant.com is where you'll find that menu. And, of course, where you'll find Humdinger's is over at Poplar and Massey. And if you are the first to answer our trivia question correctly, well, then you'll get the $25 gift certificate to Humdinger's. All you got to do is text in your answer on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line at 360-8255. That's 901-360-8255. And the first correct answer will get the $25 gift certificate to Humdinger's. And here is today's question. On Sunday against the Cowboys, Derrick Henry of the Baltimore Ravens had 151 rushing yards and a couple of touchdowns. It is the 12th time in his career that he has had 150 or more yards rushing and 2 touchdowns in a game. There's only one player in NFL history that has done that more often. Who is that? Who has the most 150-yard rushing and 2 touchdown games in NFL history? Only one player better than Derrick Henry all time. 360-8255, 360-8255, and that first correct answer will get the $25 gift certificate to Humdinger's.
Before we dive into the NFL, and again, if you want to hit us up on these Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines, you can at 901-360-8255. We'll, I'm sure, get back into the whole Pac-12 and the news from yesterday a little bit later on in the hour. Then in hour 3, we'll be really busy. The new head coach of the Showboats, Ken Wisenhunt, will join us at 9:05, former NFL head coach. And Mike Silver, who has authored a new book. He's a terrific NFL writer. He's authored a new book called The Why Is Everything, A Story of Football, Rivalry, and Revolution. He'll join us at 9:40. I did want to mention this since we brought up the the Grizzlies and the Derrick Rose news with camp opening up next week. Now here comes the forecasts for the upcoming season. I know that we had that Mark Stein story recently. We had DeMichael Cole on last Wednesday talking about his pick of the Grizzlies to finish 12th in the West. Well, here comes Kendrick Perkins, who absolutely loves the Grizzlies. Every year, this guy is always high on the Grizzlies. He said, I believe that the Memphis Grizzlies have the potential and are going to be a top 3 team in the Western Conference. Ja Morant, let's not forget who he is. When you talk about one of the top players in the game, that's him. This team is going to come back on a mission. And, to some degree, I understand what he's saying, that when he says, let's not forget about Ja Morant. I think some people have forgotten about Ja Morant or have just pushed him out of their minds because of everything that happened off the court and don't care as much about the guy, even though he's electric on the court. He's on a mission, and I think Kendrick Perkins is right in the sense that Ja is going to come back with a vengeance. Whether they're a top 3 team, I don't know. I got to see how it all works out with Edie, but from everything I've heard in practice and their 5-on-5s and everything that's going on right now before the actual start of camp, things look pretty good, and high grades, high remarks, a lot of positive about Zach Edey.
I've never changed. I believe they're a top 4 team in the West. If you think maybe Ja isn't going to be there for whatever reason, then to me that's the only reason you would think that the Grizzlies aren't a playoff team.
It's very interesting, though, that they may be the one team, at least in the West, that has the most varying opinions of where they'll finish. Again, just using those 2 people as an example, Perkins top 3, Stein 12th. What are you going to do? I think they'll finish first, and the next guy says, I think they'll finish 15th. I mean, that's pretty varying when you look at a guy who has him in the top 3 and another guy who has him 12th. All right, NFL, week 3 now in the books as the Monday Night Football games are done. There'll be another doubleheader this Monday. I really did not like the fact that the 2 games are going on basically at the same time, but it is what it is. You had the 1 game on ESPN, the 1 game on ABC. The Bills beat the Jaguars, and, of course, you could have turned that one off and just watched the Commanders and the Bengals because the Bills just throttled the Jags 47-10. The Jags are now 1-8 in their last 9 games, dating back to last year. Josh Allen looked like an MVP, and right now maybe the leading candidate for MVP. He ends up 23 of 30, 263, 4 touchdowns, 6 rushes for 44 yards. Wasn't even in there for most of the fourth quarter. It was great to see DeMar Hamlin come up with an interception, but this was just an old-fashioned butt beating.
Yeah, the Jaguars got some issues. Namely, among them, they got to figure out what they. Deshaun Watson's is still worse, but they might have the second worst quarterback contract out there.
He's in his 4th year, Trevor Lawrence. 4th year making those kind of mistakes.
I mean, really, quite frankly, you look back, Trevor Lawrence, the winning streak to end the 2022 season, and then the playoff comeback against the Chargers is really the only thing he's ever done in his career that's been good.
Right.
I mean,
was the start with Peterson, wasn't it?
We had a texter the other day that talked about how bad he was compared to him and Bryce Young, very similar numbers through the first 18 games. They've now lost his last 8 starts. He just doesn't. I mean, you can blame, I guess, other things or whatever, but last year they were supposed to be good. They collapsed at the end of the year, missed the playoffs. This year, again, expected to be pretty good. They're 0-3. He's not playing well. Doug Peterson's talking about they got to look at everything, figure things out. That I don't know. I don't know where the Jaguars go because they were terrible last night. Like they were not even close to being competitive. And their defense is actually supposed to be pretty good. They couldn't even slow down Buffalo last night.
Are they going to bench Trevor Lawrence and put Mac Jones in the starting line? Mac Jones comes into the game, fumbles. Lawrence, though, watching him play, it's interesting. He's regressed. He doesn't have I don't think he has a sense of awareness where he is on the field. I mean, there were a couple of times when he moved up in the pocket, then he broke from containment and doesn't realize that he's being run down from behind. Like the guy had just rolled by him, he goes to his left, this guy circles around, and he takes his time. How do you not know that guy was just there? He's coming back to get you. It just doesn't seem right. When he first started, I thought this guy was going to be lights out in the NFL, and he was. And the relationship with Doug Peterson was really good head coach to quarterback relationship. But they're all going to be, well, again, it's a bad contract, and you're stuck with the contract, but Peterson's gone. The owner expects that team to be a playoff team. They're 0-3. There's 3 0-3 teams, and you saw 2 of them last night, with the Jags going to 0-3 and the Bengals going to 0-3. The other one is the Titans. But the Bengals lose. Boy, I'm so glad I didn't play this game because I would have put everything I had left in my account on the Bengals to win. I did not think they were going 0-3, and I did not think they were losing at home to the Commanders. And they did. 38-33. You saw a nice combination of things that Cliff Kingsbury, why he became a head coach, because he has a great offensive mind. You saw some of those things that he's able to implement with a quarterback like Jaden Daniels. And we may be seeing, look, there's a long way to go. It's early, and I think Caleb Williams is going to be really good. But there is the possibility that the 2 pick this year, like last year, is better than the 1 pick. No doubt last year with what's going on with C.J. Stroud and the struggles of Bryce Young. This one a little bit closer. But in the end, Jaden Daniels may be better than Caleb Williams. And Jaden Daniels was sensational. 21-23, 254, 2 touchdowns. Obviously, he can beat you with his legs as well. They had the Trent Scott touchdown, the big man touchdown, which was the first touchdown thrown by Jalen Daniels in his young career. Joe Burrow was 29-38 for 324 and 3 touchdowns. But the Bengals losing to the Commanders, I just did not see that one.
First game since 1940 without a punt or a turnover. And the Commanders now back-to-back games without a punt or a turnover.
Wow.
Which is incredible.
With give a lot of credit to Kingsbury and
rookie
Daniels.
Quarterback in games 2 and 3 of his career with 0 punts, 0 turnovers in either one of the games. Daniels was awesome. I mean, the couple of 4th down plays he made, the throw to McLaurin for the touchdown there, which I mean, was a great catch by McLaurin, but the throw was perfectly placed exactly where you've got to put it. He looked absolutely incredible. It sucks as a Cowboys fan, quite frankly, to watch that, but Jaden Daniels looks great.
When the Bengals needed a stop, they couldn't get it. They couldn't slow that guy down. Yeah, he was absolutely sensational. It's a pretty good weekend for the rookie quarterbacks because Bo Nix looked good. Didn't put up the kind of numbers Daniels did, but he looked good. Had a rushing touchdown, and Denver won at Tampa. Caleb Williams finally threw some touchdown passes, still had 2 interceptions. They lost, but he looked a little bit better. And obviously Daniels looked fantastic in that win last night. So you now have 5 unbeaten teams. That's all that's left through 3 weeks. Buffalo at 3-0. Kansas City at 3-0. You probably expected that. Pittsburgh 3-0. Did not expect that. Minnesota 3-0. Nope. Seattle 3-0. I don't know. I didn't give a lot of thought to Seattle, but they may be better than I thought. And as I said, there are 4, make that 3 winless teams through 3 weeks. They're all in the AFC and 2 in the terrible AFC South. Jacksonville, Tennessee, 0-3. Cincinnati, 0-3.
The 2 of those are number 1 overall draft pick quarterbacks, which Cincinnati, again, Burrow was fantastic. Jamar Chase was great. Like, they did their thing. It's just that their defense could not get a stop. Basically, it was just that they had to score a touchdown essentially every time they had the ball, and they weren't able to quite do that. Otherwise, because I still don't understand how they lost to the Patriots in week 1. That's confusing. But the question was Burrow coming in, was he fully healthy or not? Last night, Joe Burrow looked fully healthy. Like that was Joe Burrow, but he just got no help whatsoever from the defense. If they continue to do that, and he and Jamar Chase continue that, then they should be fine in winning some games. But it's very difficult to overcome an 0-3 start and make the playoffs. It doesn't happen very often.
No, it does not. In fact, since they went to 17 games, nobody has made the playoffs that started 0-3. So not a good track record. As far as some other quarterbacks are concerned, news on injuries. Justin Herbert, who had to leave the game for the Chargers, had the MRI on the ankle, negative. Sam Darnold, off to the amazing start for the undefeated Minnesota Vikings, had an MRI on his knee. Prognosis, negative. Good news. And now there's news that Brock Purdy is going to get his back looked at. Purdy is off and rolling, even though San Francisco isn't. His numbers are good. 49ers are 1-2. But Purdy will have his back looked at. I'm not sure exactly when this week, and what his status is. I'm not sure if are we starting buys already? We're not at buys yet. Week 4, are we?
I don't know if they start week 4 or week 5.
I'm just wondering because Purdy, why you wouldn't have gotten that taken care of yesterday when the other two quarterbacks, as I just mentioned, Herbert and Darnold, had their MRI.
Yeah, they don't start till week 5. Week 5.
Okay, so I guess that'll be happening today with Purdy. But again, good news for Herbert, good news for Darnold as far as their injuries are concerned.
Well, the 49ers have Christian McCaffrey now going over to Germany to try and find a solution for his Achilles issue. It's not good times for the 49ers, that's for sure. They got their problems. They got a lot of issues.
Yeah, we don't have good enough physicians here in good old US of A. Going to Germany, for goodness sakes. Reggie Bush, former USC running back, who got his Heisman Trophy back, right, has filed a lawsuit. You knew this was coming. Has filed a lawsuit against USC, the Pac-12, or what's left of the Pac-12. Poor Pac-12. And the NCAA, seeking compensation for his name, image, and likeness during his time with the program.
He's in line with a lot of other guys. A lot of it's full teams that are kind of combining to do it. He's doing it, I guess, more by himself. But yes, he joins the Kansas basketball team, the North Carolina State basketball team. Who was the other one that's got? There's all kinds of these things going on.
Yeah, but I don't get it.
The Michigan football players. I think that's then now him. I think that's the fourth one of these types of suits.
Okay, so Reggie Bush and other great players were getting paper bags worth of money. We know it. They were getting paid. There wasn't any such thing as name, image, likeness, but they were getting paid. And obviously, what happened to him, they took away the Heisman, all that stuff. They give the Heisman back. I don't know how you compensate NIL when NIL was not a thing. I don't see how you can go back in time and reward people for something that was just enacted here recently.
That's their whole point.
But they were getting paid.
It should have been.
Yeah, but they were getting money. They were getting lots of money. Lots of money. So, do they want to admit that? I don't know. I don't buy this. I don't like this precedent that's being set as far as looking back over those years. How far are you going to go back? How deep into this thing you want to go? I mean, it's ridiculous.
We do have a winner in our Humdingers trivia. We had a lot of incorrect guesses of one person, which makes a lot of sense. I understand. Y'all think I'm a Cowboys fan. I'm asking this question because Emmitt Smith is the correct answer. Well, Emmitt Smith is not the correct answer. Sorry. So all of you people, and there were a ton of you, that guessed Emmitt Smith, sorry, that is not the correct answer. There was somebody who guessed LaDainian Tomlinson. That is a very good guess, except he is tied with Derrick Henry for 150-yard, 2-touchdown games. That Derrick Henry just moved into a tie with him with his game on Sunday for second place. So there is still only one person that has more 150-yard, 2-touchdown games in the history of the NFL. And it's not Walter Payton either. That's a very good. Honestly, if you would have asked me, I probably would have went Walter Payton. It is not Barry Sanders among the guys who were guests. It is another one of the greats, maybe the greatest. It is Jim Brown, who has 13 such games. So Derrick Henry is only one behind Jim Brown in that category for the most 150-yard, 2-touchdown games in NFL history. But Jim Brown, the correct answer. We will be contacting our winner and letting you know how you'll get your $25 gift certificate to Humdingers.
Not a lot of difference between their games. Jim Brown, the great athlete, former lacrosse star. Now, guys are bigger today, but he was big back then, and he would run you over. Derrick Henry, same deal. It's a locomotive. You don't want to get in front of that guy. You did not want to get in front of Jim Brown. Oh, by the way, if you don't think quarterbacks are important, Will Levis, Trevor Lawrence, two of the 0-3 quarterbacks to go along with somehow Joe Burrow, but we know Burrow's numbers are good, and it's not on Burrow, it's on the Cincinnati defense. But with Tennessee and with Jacksonville, it's certainly on the lack of offense. Both quarterbacks, Will Levis, Trevor Lawrence, 0-3. Levis's passer rating, 76.5. Lawrence, 75.1. Total passing yards, Levis, 579. Lawrence, 560. Passing touchdowns to interceptions. Levis has 4 touchdown passes, 5 interceptions. Now, Lawrence has only thrown 1 pick, but he's only thrown 2 touchdowns in 3 games. Yards per attempt, this is interesting too. They're not throwing it down the field. Levis, 6.2. Lawrence, 6.3. Their yards per pass attempted so far this year. Lawn Solutions is a locally owned weed-controlled fertilization company that serves the greater Memphis area. Brandon Holly has his team of professionals ready to go to take care of your lawn, to treat your lawn, and they do so all year long. They control the germination of weeds during the winter, during the summer. It's a lot easier to prevent the weeds from popping up than it is to kill them, but they can do that as well. So if you don't use this treatment and then in the spring you're like, here's all the weeds, they can kill those weeds for you. But it's better to get the treatment all year long. They can take care of any disease your lawn has or any insect infestation as well. Also, with your lawn service, it might be hard if there's a problem to talk to the ownership group and to get feedback and to get a resolution. That's not the case with Lawn Solutions. They will follow up with a short email after you contact them. And after each visit, they'll actually send you an email to make sure that everything went according to plan. If you have any concerns or questions, you simply hit a tab. It takes you right to the owner's email. It doesn't get any easier than that, because Brandon believes that being transparent with customers is an asset to small businesses. So for Lawn Solutions, to get their services, all you have to do is call them at 901-867-5626 or go online to lawnsolutionsinc.net. You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
We are Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Wash your house, wash your office building? Impossible! Not call Wilson's Pro Wash. Your house
office, fence, driveway, warehouse, store, hotel, even cars and trucks can always squeaky clean and beautiful after pressure washing by Wilson's Pro Wash. Wilson's specializes in cleaning all hard surfaces, concrete, stone, brick, and mortar, even wood and vinyl siding. Then Wilson's can seal their surfaces so they stay looking brand new. Call Wilson's Pro Wash, 1-524-6799, or online at wilsonsprowash.com.
They're taking care of business in Memphis right on the river with Grind City Brewing and all of their great products. Look, this was a dream come true for a father and son duo. And if you have not been to that brewery right on the river, just to the north of downtown, you're really missing something special. And now you can't miss their products. Wherever you go, you see a brand new label. It's clean, it's beautiful, it's distinctive. You'll know Grind City Brewing, and of course you know their products like Poppy's Pills, that great Pilsner, or Tiger Tail, that very creative craft malt liquor. There's the new Thaddeus Amber Lager. That is absolutely a great light beer. There's the India Pale called God Hopper. It's outstanding. And then there's the Belga, the Belgian-style wheat ale. They keep bringing hits at Grind City Brewing.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at triumphautosales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. There is a couple of accidents still getting some attention out here right now. We're just seeing this heavy traffic volume on 40 westbound, anywhere you're traveling now between Germantown Parkway all the way up to Witten Road, Sycamore View Road. It's just heavy there this time of the morning anyway, as traffic also picks up with more volume, 240 east and westbound between Walnut Grove and Poplar, coming up through South Haven right now. It's been in pretty good shape so far on 55 going northbound, coming up from the south. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry, serving the Memphis area now for over 40 years? No matter what the occasion is, stop by and see them first at Weimer's Jewelry on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Diamonds are forever.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 8:30 the time. If you missed this news from yesterday, Ken Wisenhunt named the new head coach of the Memphis Showboats. We'll get ready for their third year in Memphis in the spring, 2025. We'll have Ken on 9:05 coming up later today to talk to the former head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, former head coach of the Tennessee Titans, a Super Bowl champion. He was an assistant coach with the Steelers, Super Bowl 55, almost had the Cardinals, had him in the Super Bowl as a coach, and they almost won it all. So this guy knows a thing or two. Also, it was announced by the league that Jim Monis will be the new general manager of the Showboats. I'm not familiar with Jim Monis. I'm not sure if you are, but he will take over the reins of the team.
No, I mean, most people aren't. I mean, he was a director of player personnel for years with the Buffalo Bills. But, yeah, I don't think most people are real familiar with director of player personnel around the NFL.
No.
So, but scout. Then it spent 2 straight years with the XFL. He was with the XFL before the merger. Senior director of football operations, so certainly knows spring football as well. So he has player personnel pass, knows spring football. So hopefully he and Coach Wisenhunt can put together a winning roster, and the Showboats could have a good year coming up.
As I mentioned earlier, most recently, Wisenhunt served as special assistant to head coach Nick Saban at the University of Alabama for the 23 season. Obviously, that would be Saban's final year. He also spent 2 seasons from 21 to 22 with Penn State as an offensive analyst. So he's done it at the college level and at the NFL level as well. Now he'll coach up the Showboats. The Memphis Tigers basketball team got underway got their first practice underway yesterday, and then Penny Hardaway was involved in a golf event later that day, and some of the local media went over and talked to Penny about the upcoming season. He talked about Mike Davis, the hiring of Mike Davis, the hiring of Nolan Smith. He said Nolan Smith, a rising star in coaching that they were able to get. Excited about his team. Again, a team that's got some mystery about it. We don't know a ton about them as a unit. There was more understanding of the players that Penny brought in last year. And, of course, the chemistry went kaput later in the year after the great start they got out to. This year, that schedule, once again, is daunting. So we'll see how good the chemistry is with these guys and if they'll be able to sustain it. A couple of big names, but for the most part, he brought in players that think defense first, physicality, and team, as opposed to individual. So we'll see how it turns out. We'll obviously be talking a lot more as we get closer and closer to the start of the season. And, of course, that big doubleheader preseason on October 15th, the preseason games, as Memphis will take on North Carolina. Then the women will follow at FedEx Forum, taking on South Carolina. Also, as we mentioned with the Grizzlies, they will begin camp on Tuesday of next week, so 1 week from today, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, in Nashville. We talked a little bit earlier about the Derrick Rose deal, that D. Rose will not be with the team. That means there's 2 open spots. They don't have to fill those spots as they get ready for camp. Media Day will be next Monday. And then I mentioned also the open practice coming up on Sunday, October 6th at FedEx Forum for the public. Doors opening at 11 a.m. We've talked a lot, and we started the show, in case you weren't with us, about the situation from yesterday. I know there's a lot of people who are disappointed. They wanted Memphis to leave the American Conference. That was not the case. Cooler heads prevailed because this was the right move, whether you like it or not. Love to hear from you now. This is your opportunity here over the course of the next 2 segments. If you'd like to talk about that, and hit us up on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines at 901-360-8255. You can call in, you can text in, 901-360-8255. Your thoughts on all the news from yesterday, where, again, Memphis, Tulane, USF, and UTSA proclaimed their solidarity with emails that were sent out to the media, statements that were sent out. Then, of course, Memphis also making a statement of its own. The mess that's going on right now from the Mountain West, who knows what is going to happen. A lot of stories that came and went yesterday. We thought that UNLV was gone. We thought UNLV was staying. We don't know at that point, but it starts the domino effect because, again, one more team leaving the Mountain West drops them under the 8-team minimum for the conference, and that would put the Pac-12, or whatever they're going to call it, I'm sure they're going to call it the Pac-12, but it's not going to have 12 teams. That would put them one away from getting to the 8-team threshold. So there's a lot of movement, a lot of moving parts, Eli. But again, going back to our statements about Memphis, it just didn't make financial sense to make that move.
Yeah, it's a tough world when you're, and maybe if it was a different, from a timing perspective, maybe it could have made more sense. But when you're trying to raise money right now for a lot of different things, including the stadium renovation, the idea of having to pay a 20, 25 million, whatever exit fee to go to a conference that might be better for you money-wise, that's hard to do, hard to make that decision. So, hopefully, it ends up that something happens with the ACC or whoever, and in another year or 2 or whatever, there's a better offer out there for the University of Memphis, and something that makes a little more sense to pay 20 to 25 million to get out of the conference, because that you're going to be making more money in the new conference, and hopefully substantially more money in that new conference, where instead of hypothetical money in a conference of leftovers being put together. Grizzly Pat texted in. He said 2 things. If they turned it down because Ed Scott has intel that will be added to the ACC in 2 to 3 years. It makes sense to turn the pack down. If it's a negotiation tactic to get more in exit fees, that's understandable. The offer of $2.5 million towards exit fees was not a real offer.
No, I can tell you the answer to the first one. There's no intel that Memphis is being considered because, first of all, the ACC is not looking at expanding. They're hoping to keep Florida State and Clemson, but we have the legal ramifications. They're trying to settle something and appease them before it goes possibly to a trial. Who knows what will come out of it? There is nothing there right now. Down the road, who knows? But more than likely, if the ACC were to bring in Memphis and South Florida, that would mean a bunch of teams left the ACC, and they would be a shell of themselves. Who knows if they would continue to have autonomy? I don't know. But that's not the reason why they didn't leave, nor is it because of they're negotiating more for an exit fee. The bottom line is this. It's uncertainty. They can't go to a conference that's basically trying to put together the blocks right now to make the house and not know what the return is. You can't go on faith. You can't go on speculation that maybe we'll make this much money from this network who may get into the college football landscape, or maybe CW will broaden their horizons, or maybe there's a streamer out there. You know exactly what you're making from the American through 2031. And even that look-in from ESPN, they cannot go down on, they can only go up. They can't take away money. They can only go up. They're not going to go up because of what the American Conference lost. So you're going to get that amount of money, which is better than any other Group of 5 conference. And again, I understand the competition. It would have been better. It wouldn't have been substantially better because Tulane would have went with you. USF would have went with you, right? South Florida, UTSA would. So you had those teams. You already play those teams. You'd be adding a Boise State who was in Memphis last year, didn't sell that place out, didn't come close. So it'd be Washington State and Oregon State. So it's better. It's not significantly better. Yeah, it's a shame. There are some dogs. There's a lot of dogs in this conference. I understand that. But it doesn't make sense. You would be losing your relationship with ESPN. You'd be spending more on your travel costs. You'd be more than likely getting less money. Then the whole buyout, what you'd have to pay to get out of the conference, which is crazy. That's ludicrous. It makes no sense. There is nothing on the horizon that says, oh, Memphis is going to go to the ACC. Look, they've been shunned by several
conferences. Well, there's nothing on the horizon, but that's your hope.
That's the hope.
Because you know that there are teams in that conference trying to get out of the conference.
But there's no guarantee. There's not even a guarantee that if they lost 2 teams, that Memphis would be the one they'd go after. And Memphis thought they'd be one of the teams they'd get for the Big 12. You can't hang your hat on the possibilities of that happening. But that's the hope that it will happen. But right now, you're in the American, whether you like it or not. So what you have to do is just win, baby. I mean, I went back and forth with people on Twitter yesterday. Remember 2019? Remember the crowds that they got for some of those games? Remember game day and going to the Cotton Bowl? Why can't you be the best? And they lose last week to Navy, right, in football. You have to take advantage of this conference. With those teams gone, you have to win.
I mean, the initial hope is that, yes, you win, and you also hope that these ideas that Tim Pernetti has come in with trying to find private investment, other ways, other revenue streams, that they could come up with them, and you start making even more money in the American. But, yeah, I mean, ideally, you, especially in basketball, you should be the dominant program. It shouldn't even be close. But in football, you need to be competing for the conference championship game on a yearly basis and playing in it in a lot of years. If you think you're so much better than this conference, then go prove it on the field.
Yes, you got to go out there and prove it. Penny was asked this yesterday about the conference realignment prospects before, I guess, it was announced that Memphis wasn't going. I'm loyal to where I'm at. Obviously, the AAC is a better conference than people are giving it credit for. I don't know if it's a better conference than what people are giving it credit for. But the thing is, with basketball, it really doesn't matter as long as you're playing a really good non-conference schedule, which he is, and they're doing the best they can to have some of those games at home. Certainly there's going to be those tournaments. There's going to be neutral site games. It is what it is. But basketball, you obviously got to load up. Now, the football non-conference schedule, that's touchy. That's a subject that is an interesting one to say the least, because you certainly would like a better home schedule, but then I'm sure a coach doesn't want an extremely tough schedule that would put you behind the 8 ball to try to be that group of 5 representative. But you have a chance in this conference to be really, really good and be the top in both of the revenue-making sports. But the thing is, you can't have games like last week. You can't have... See, last week we went from the euphoria of the win over Florida State, the talk of Memphis going to another conference, and then, boom, you lose. Now, that has nothing to do with why they didn't go to the Pac-12, but now you have no more room for margin for error. You have to win these games. Memphis has to get to the conference championship game. That's pivotal in football. Last year was great, but you have to get that next step in. And basketball, after what was hopefully an anomaly with a disaster of a year, that you bounce back and do what you're supposed to do. And that's win every darn year in this conference in basketball. You have more NIL money than most, if not all, the schools in this league. You have to take advantage of. And if you win and win big, they're going to come to the games.
Another texter says, okay, Memphis, keep on dreaming that dream of joining the ACC. Again, if you're looking for a conference that would be the next to break up, the ACC, when you have members filing lawsuits to try and get out of it, is the most likely.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's something that you hope for. I wouldn't count my chickens that even if it breaks up that you're going to be invited. But that's the hope. But that's not the reason why you didn't go. You would have went if it made sense financially, you were gone. It just did not.
Keith says, I would like to see the AAC and one of the other conferences joined, have an East and West division, play a championship. I think they get more money that way. No, you wouldn't. You already are making more money than those conferences. Why bring those teams in who are already shown that they're worth less than you to the TV networks and split money more ways? That makes no sense for the AAC to do that. You're just giving away your money. You are right now the best of the group of 5.
Right. The only way it would make sense, again, is if a network like TNT thought that it was a really good product to combine those two leagues, one from the East, one from the West, and make maybe it wouldn't be a power conference, but it would be like a super conference from the group of 5, and that we can sell it and we can make it attractive to sponsors and we can shell out some good money. I don't think that's possible, and you can't go on a promise. You have to see concrete information in front of you before you sign any contract to leave to go to another conference that you are going to get this amount of money. Again, I'd rather have more money than less money. I don't know if maybe it's hard to comprehend that concept there, but more money better than less money. I'm going with that. Every day of the week, I'm going with that one.
Wayne says, I'm happy Memphis stayed in the AAC. I think the AAC is better. Better competition, better money, and better for me as a fan to travel to games. I think the AAC is already what the Pac-12 aspires to be as far as the best of the rest. Yeah, I think competition-wise, if all of those teams, if the 4 teams from the AAC had all gone, that Pac-12 would be a better conference competition-wise. That would be the only thing to me that would be better in. Everything else would be the point about the fan, travel to games, everything else, 100%.
Okay, let me ask you this.
Fans would have. I'm saying fans would have. The people who think they would have liked it would have hated that conference.
No question about it.
Because they're literally, even if Tulane, at least if Tulane went, you would have one theoretically road game a year that you could drive to. That's it. Everything else you have to get on a plane, and some of them to markets. Not going to be real easy to get to on that plane. Like
right.
And you're going to be playing 9 o'clock games, 9:30 games. Like, I'm telling you, fans would have hated that conference.
As much as you hate ESPN Plus, some of you wouldn't have that access anymore because you would lose that affiliation with ESPN. Let me say this, though. While we are all in agreement that it would be a better conference, it's not significant. It would not be significantly better. Let's just think about this. Right now, Washington State, Oregon State, Boise State, and let's say they get UNLV, right? Tulane, Memphis, South Florida, UTSA. It's not that, I mean, it's better, but it's not significantly better.
Well, no, but those 4 teams would have win. That's the whole point. If those 4 teams win, that conference would have been way better than the American competition-wise.
I still think if you match those up, it's not that much of a difference.
No, I said, but they would have joined together. That would be the conference.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying right now for people to say that, they're going to surpass what the American is right now with what they have and what they're trying to bring in, Utah State, UNLV, whatever. I'm just saying the top 4 versus the top 4 in the American, there's not that much difference. I would still give the lean to the Pac-12. Now, they may bring in Gonzaga. Who knows what the hell's going on with Connecticut? But Connecticut wants to be football only. So, I mean, you're going to bring them in for football only? They're not going to leave the Big East more than likely. It didn't work out with the Big 12, and they were going there for all sports. So it's not that much of a difference. Yes, if the teams in the American left to go to the Pac-12, the Pac-12 would be easily the most dominant group of 5 conference, not even close.
And it would be better than the current AAC.
Yes.
And you would have got to
because you would have got the best from the American.
You would have got to a better conference competition-wise. That's the only thing it would have been better in, I think.
Yes.
But you would have got to it would have been a better conference competition-wise than what you currently sit in. But everything else would have been a negative. We don't know what the money would have been, but again, when you're talking exit fees, everything else probably would have been a negative as well. But again, from a fan perspective, it would have been a massive negative. And I think people would have learned that in a hurry.
Exactly. James Gaddis Jewelers is your second-hour sponsor of Sports 56 Mornings. They're your family's jeweler. They have been with us for years, and they have been around Memphis for years. They've been a part of the fabric of this community for over 50 years. If you go back to their days on Summer Avenue, they've been in that Poplar Avenue location for over 25 years. You're looking for that special engagement ring, wedding rings, personally designed wedding sets. This is the place for you. James is a master jeweler, a certified appraiser, so if you need something appraised, just bring it on in. He's also a diamondologist. He's graded by the Gemologist Institute of America. You want somebody who knows diamonds when you're buying that special ring for that special someone. They're full-service jewelers with 2 bench jewelers ready to serve you. All their diamonds are independently graded and certified. They know there's a lot of competition. They make sure they have a price point to suit everybody's budget. Now, you may be looking for a beautiful watch. They have watches of all types, gemstones of all types, bracelets and necklaces, earrings and pendants, plus one-of-a-kind estate and vintage jewelry. They also have the experts to help you pick out those fine pieces of jewelry and those special engagement rings. 2 repair experts to help you with your fine watches and jewelry. Layaway and financing is available. Go visit James Gaddis Jewelers at 4900 Poplar between Mendenhall and St. Nick, and on the web at GaddisJewelers.com. You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
In Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises. Just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and great quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it. Because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets, vegan, selling locations at Ridgeway and Parkway Center, Upper Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, Goodman Road in Highland Branch. Jason's Deli is wholesome food and no surprises.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Family Leisure is having the world's biggest spa set. It's happening right now. You can save thousands on in-stock hot tubs that are ready to be delivered. Family Leisure has spas that start at just $28.99. You know those cold plunges? You can get one for yourself starting at $39.99. Or how about swim spas? They start at $17,499. Plus, Family Leisure has set up special financing just for this event. Have you been sitting on the fence about an above-ground pool? Get off that fence and get to Family Leisure to take advantage of huge discounts on all their in-stock above-ground pools. And if you need some patio furniture, it's all priced to move out now. It's not too late to have some summer fun, courtesy of Family Leisure. But you better hurry up. The world's biggest spa sale might go on forever. Family Leisure. Witten Road at I-40. Family and fun come together.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
To reveal the full spectrum of its dazzling color.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
So more from Ross Dellinger. He says that the Pac-12 did get signed, I guess, agreements from one. Utah State is included. So now they're waiting on UNLV.
So Utah State's staying.
No, they're going to the Pac-12. Pac-12 got a signed agreement.
Oh, the Pac-12 got one.
So now it's the whole thing kind of looms with UNLV. If UNLV decides to join, obviously that takes the Mountain West down to 6 teams. Those teams are left really scrambling. They need a vote of 9 of the 12 football members of the Mountain West to dissolve the conference.
9 of the 12? I mean, including the 4 that are leaving?
Yeah, they're part of the conference. So that's the whole thing. The Pac-12 can try and add more and then get to a point where the Mountain West dissolves and they don't owe any exit fees to anybody because there's no conference.
Okay, I see what they're trying to do.
That's why that is a possibility.
But here, I don't get this. Dellinger says on Monday, the Mountain West got signed agreements from 7 of the 8 members. Well, there's 12 members technically, so I guess he's taking out the 4 that are leaving, right? So if he says 7 of 8 members, including, it turns out, UNLV. So the one that didn't sign, I was assuming was Utah State. But now you're telling me Utah State is now committed to staying in the Mountain West.
Utah State's going to the Pac-12.
No, okay, that's what I'm saying. Oh, no, that makes sense. My bad.
The Pac-12 has 7 members right now. They're trying to get UNLV as the 8th.
The Pac-12,
they've gotten 5 Mountain West teams. They're trying to get number 6 in UNLV.
Gotcha.
Then they could go for more to get it to a point where these teams where the Mountain West dissolves and they don't have to pay the $150 million or whatever exit fees for all these teams to leave the conference because there is no conference to pay.
Again, all it is this is what we talked about last year. It's the Mountain West with 2 teams that were left from the Pac-12. It's the Mountain West. It's going to turn out to be the Mountain West, but it's going to change.
Minus a few teams.
Minus a couple of teams changing its name to the Pac-12. and adding Washington State and Oregon State. That's all it's going to be.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what I said from the beginning.
All this conversation,
That's exactly what I said from the beginning.
all this uproar, all this talk, and it's going to end up being the Mountain West is going to end up being called the Pac-12, with a couple of teams going.
The Pac-12 was hoping the two teams from the Pac-12 were hoping to. They probably thought they could pick off the top teams from the American and the top teams from the Mountain West and put together a better conference. Now that the American teams have told them no, now they've got to pivot and say, okay, how can we put together a conference to save ourselves?
Right.
And now, if we're going to get to this point, we're just joining. It's going to be we're adding basically all Mountain West members. Well, we might as well go the extra mile and get rid of $150 million worth of exit fees and just get that conference to dissolve. So that they're going to the next plan. Now, again, does that mean Air Force now comes back to the American and says, yeah, we would like to join the American? Who knows? I mean, again, those teams, if UNLV does make the move, those other Mountain West teams have to start figuring out somewhere to go. Again, unless you're going to try and add UTEP and so I don't know. I don't think you're going to be able to keep the conference together. If UNLV goes and say Air Force leaves, I think at that point your hopes of keeping the Mountain West Conference together are done. You're out of hope at that point.
Wild stuff. All right, we'll take a break. Come back, hour 3. We'll be busy. Ken Wisenhunt, the new coach of the Showboats, will join us, former head coach of the Arizona Cardinals and Tennessee Titans. And then we'll talk with football writer and author Mike Silver about his new entry. It's called The Why is Everything, a story of football, rivalry, and revolution. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
To help us tell everyone how great Central Barbecue is.
Oh, I don't think we need it either, but I just thought it might be fun to have somebody more famous than us chime in on the best barbecue in Memphis.
Well, did he talk about how Central Barbecue slow smokes its meat for 24 hours to make sure that it's perfectly tender and doesn't need a sauce?
Well, no, not exactly.
Well, did he talk about how there are Central Barbecue locations all over town?
No.
Did you write his copy for him?
I didn't want to be insulting.
So what did he say?
Hi, I'm Dave Woloshin, the voice of the Memphis Tigers. I love Central Barbecue, and I vote. Does that work okay?
What does that even mean?
I don't know.
When you're working outdoors, unpredictability is the norm, so tackle your toughest jobs with the 2025 Honda Pioneer 700. This rugged side-by-side brings power to any party with reliable torque for towing and smooth shifting for the trails. And you can choose between 3 trims, Standard, Deluxe, or the True Timber Force Edition, equipped for ultimate backwoods adventures. See the 2025 Honda Pioneer 700 today at DeSoto Honda, 5656 Newman Road in Old Branch. If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know. Benswinger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 145 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Benswinger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Benswinger Glass in Midtown at 340 South Hollywood, across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit BenswingerGlass.com. Benswinger Glass.
Getaway Sports Mondays kept secret in town. Open noon to 1:30 a.m. 7 days a week. Carter creators SEC NFL Dream Bar over 20 years ago. You'll never miss a minute of action. 10 TVs, 5 70-inch TVs for all the big games. Come up on 6 pool tables. Just here in town, grab your cool stick and get you some ball. Chicken tenders, daily happy hour waiting for Friday to 6 p.m. On regular 25 Getaway Sports Mondays, 632 Winchester.
This Sports 56 traffic report is brought to you by Luttrell Belting. They keep you moving.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. We still see some traffic volume out here, right on schedule actually for this time of the morning on 40 West, anywhere between Germantown Parkway and Sycamore View Road. There's still a little bit of volume right now on 240 East and westbound. Over here at Walnut Grove, trying to get up through the Midtown area, still in pretty good shape right now. 240 northbound at Lamar. Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64. They want you to know they are your full-service, family-owned jewelry store here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
back, everyone. 9:03 the time. Hour number 3 here on Sports 56 Mornings on this Tuesday, September 24th, 2024. Currently 72 degrees, going to get up to about 80, 81 today. Some clouds, a little bit of sun, possibly a chance of rain, and that will continue into the evening. Ken Wisenhunt's going to join us in just a few moments. Hour 3 of the program is brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More, with their new showroom open in Horn Lake at 2356 Goodman Road. Family-owned and operated local business that specializes in flooring and carpeting. They got all the top-of-the-line material, including SPC and WPC vinyls, which are scratch-resistant and waterproof, ceramic and porcelain tiles, hardwoods by Portercraft, carpeting from Southern Luxury Carpet, backsplashes for your kitchens and bathrooms, and plantation shutters and blinds, and so much more. They sell it wholesale. Skip the middleman. Going to save you lots of money in the process. Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins, they started this business about 8 years ago in their garage down in Cleveland, where they have a store as well, Cleveland, Mississippi. And because of their quality work, the attention to detail, and their pricing, they've earned their reputation of being one of the top flooring companies in the area. It's for both residential and commercial. So, again, if you're a homeowner, perhaps if you're a contractor, go on in, get the great material, get the top-of-the-line material, and get it at a discount. And if you want Jenkins to do the job for you, they can do so. They'll come to your house, wherever you are, your home, your business, your office, and they'll give you a free estimate. They'll get the job done in 2 weeks. That's their promise to you. Financing is available, so stop by or call them at 662-469-9350. They're open Monday through Saturday, 662-469-9350. Open in Horn Lake at 2356 Goodman Road. Stop by or call them. It's Jenkins Floors and More. All right. You ready for another season of the UFL? Do we have any details yet if it's going to be the same as last season with the teams all in Arlington?
I don't know that has been officially decided, but I think that is the assumption that that's what they will be doing.
You know, for people who thought that it wouldn't make it to a second year and then, no, it's going to make it to a third year. And we tried to tell people it's here to stay. Steve Macy would come over and join us a number of times on the show and talk about that. So, yeah, it's back for a third season. Hopefully, better fortunes for the team, maybe a playoff run this year, and they'll do so behind a new head coach who has proven himself at every level and has had a lot of success.
Yeah, certainly he's had, with the Arizona Cardinals' success, took them to a Super Bowl, of course, with Kurt Warner at quarterback, and almost won that was a offensive coordinator for the Steelers team that won a Super Bowl, won Super Bowl 40 as offensive coordinator there, where he had a lot of success as well. Then he was the head coach of the Tennessee Titans, spent many, many years as an offensive coordinator / head coach, whatever. And then the last few years has actually been in the college. It was at Penn State as an offensive analyst there, then was at Alabama for a year under Nick Saban, and now back into pro football and getting into the spring football world.
Super Bowl winner with Super Bowl 40 in the Steelers as a coach, and then as a player. I remember him very, very well. I'm old school. 9 years as an NFL tight end. It is our pleasure to be joined by the new head coach of the Memphis Showboats, Ken Wisenhunt. Coach, how are you? Coach, you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Hey, I can hear you now. Thank you for joining us.
Glad to be with you guys.
I know this is something you won't remember, but from your times in Tennessee with the Titans, we had you on a couple of times on the show. So it was great to have you on then. It's great to have you on now. So give me your thoughts on taking this gig. Obviously, you've been in the college ranks the last few years, but a long storied career as a player and as a coach in the NFL. Why the UFL? Why the Showboats? Why now?
Well, it's funny, but it really is more of a personal thing because my son-in-law, Zach Mettenberger, we drafted him actually in Tennessee, right. And he played there a couple of years and then was out of the league, and he was trying to find a way to get back in. And he got involved with some of the earlier spring leagues, especially the ones that were in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and we actually went out, as supporting him to watch him practice and look at the teams in our off season, in the NFL off season. And it just kind of made me think, where do guys go when they're out of the NFL to give them the best opportunity to get back into the NFL? And just to see how that operation was run, there were a lot of things that were not as refined as they are now. They've done a great job. Russ Brandon and those guys, with the UFL and where it's come to now, it's a great program for guys to have an opportunity to get back into the NFL. So, being in college the last couple of years, one of the things that really kind of jumped out at me from when I was in college was the individual time in practice, where you got a chance to work on technique, you got a chance to work on your footwork. That's all gone away. And so a lot of these guys, even though they have very good careers in college and come out, they're not really ready for the NFL. And to come in and have 3 months in the off season and then you're thrown to the fire in the NFL, it's very difficult. And a lot of times guys get overlooked or get out of the league, ones that have talent, just because they're not prepared. And, because it's tough now. Those guys that you play in the NFL, they are really good. And if you're not buckled up with your technique and you're not buckled up with depth of your routes and being in the right spot, you're going to have a hard time making the team. So I think this gives the guys an avenue to refine their skills.
Ken
and it gives them a chance.
Oh, go ahead.
Yep. Yeah, and this gives them a chance to get better. So I think it's a great thing, and it's a great way to evaluate players and get them a chance to get back to the NFL.
I don't think there's any question. Ken Wisenhunt, new coach of the Showboats, joining us on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines. One more point about Zach Mettenberger, and I did not know that relationship with you. Zach, not only playing in those kind of leagues that you said, he played here in Memphis, as you probably know, with the Alliance of American Football. So he was here in Memphis, and now, of course, you'll be coming to Memphis to coach the Showboats. Small world, I guess, right?
Yeah, small world is right.
With the idea of spring football, and obviously it's a little different than the NFL, so do you have to change anything as far as your style is concerned, do you think, from being a head coach in the NFL compared to what you'll have to do in spring football?
That's one of the things you don't really know. I don't think so. I mean, guys probably in where they are now in their careers, they want to be coached. They want to get better. I mean, they're really, number one thing you hear from a lot of these guys, they want to get back to the NFL. Well, so hopefully, it's something that'll work well for us, because I think we're going to go through it with how we prepare for getting guys ready for the NFL, and this is a great opportunity for them. And I think it's good in a place like Memphis because such a rich history of football there. This is where the spring league started with some pretty doggone good players. So it's kind of neat to be involved with that.
So year 3 here in Memphis, I guess year 4, Eli, of the league. Once they combined.
It's year 2 of the UFL.
Year 2 of the UFL, but of
year
course.
Year 3 of the Showboats.
Exactly. 3 years with the Showboats. You have the uniqueness of, and I'm not sure if they're going to continue this, but the pod system where all the teams will play in Arlington. They did last year anyway. But now we're here in late September, Coach, and before too long, it'll be time for the season. So what's next as you just jumped into this position as the head coach? What's kind of the timetable as you move along and find out who's on your team and then get to know the players? Obviously, there's a new general manager that's now going to run the show. What's it all look like as far as what's coming up for you?
Yeah, it's a good question. Maybe you could give me some insight on that. Yeah, we're just getting started. This thing kind of happened quickly, and obviously you got to get your team. I mean, there'll be a lot of guys that come back, but there'll also be some new guys. And then, the structure of it, like you said, is going to be similar to last year, and we are. But the good thing is going to be able to play here in Memphis, and that's going to be important. But there's, like I said, there's a strong group. Yacht Club is a group that supported this team for a long time, and we're excited to try to give them a product that'll be good. And it's, it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing for fans, but it's really a good thing for these young men that are trying to get back to the NFL or get into the NFL. And, it should be an exciting brand of things. So we just got to get rolling. I think, it'll get on us pretty quick here, but Jim and I have just briefly talked, so we got to figure out the plan and, at least they have a year under their belt. So looking forward to it.
How do you, as far as putting a staff together, how quickly can you do that? Do you have guys in mind? How do you go about approaching just putting a staff together?
Well, it's funny because I got a lot of calls yesterday when it was put out. And, I was in the NFL for a long time, so there's a lot of guys that I know or that are friends of them or guys that I know. So, we'll start on that process here as we move forward. Just it happened so quickly now you hadn't had a chance to get started. But we've got, a month or two before we really get into it. So that's going to be a process over, the next couple of months.
As a guy who obviously had a lot of success as an offensive coordinator in the NFL, I assume you'll be bringing your offense to this team? Will you be running the offense?
Yeah, that the offense that we're bringing is one that's being run a lot in the NFL. There's a couple of guys that have worked with us that are head coaches now that are running this offense, and it's been very successful. So we're gonna, they're obviously feel comfortable with that, and it'll be interesting to see how it can go forward. But yeah, we've got a good plan for that, and I'm looking forward to implementing it with our guys.
Ken Wisenhunt, named the new head coach of the Memphis Showboats, joining us here on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest lines. So the interesting thing with you is that you've had a lot of success as a coach. Obviously, the things you did with the Arizona Cardinals, then went to Tennessee with the Titans, long time in the NFL as a player, and then you go the college ranks these last few years. But last year, coaching with and coaching under as an analyst, I guess it is, with Nick Saban in his final year at Alabama. What was that experience like?
It was fantastic. I tell you, it just goes back to me and what's important, reinforcing the fact that it's very important how you go about your practice, how you go about preparation, what you've got to give these guys to prepare it for. And, I think one of the things with Nick that he was so strong on and diligent was with technique and preparation. And, that's kind of what I grew up in, and some of the things that, we've implemented, we've done were in spots that we've been. So it kind of reinforced that, but it was really awesome just to see, how you go about preparing these guys at the college level and, the similarities between that and pro ball. And then, obviously playing an SEC schedule where you got to see the best teams in college football. It also gave you great insight on players, which, is another thing that can help.
With the fact that you spent so much time in the NFL, then seeing the college game, how similar now do you think the NFL and college games are compared to where they were years ago?
Well, I'll tell you that the NIL thing has changed college football, from a standpoint, and it's made it a lot more like pro football. In fact, the ability of these players to leave a school and go to another school, is a little bit like cutting a guy in the pros and he goes to another team, or, trading the guy. So that dynamic has really changed college football and made it a lot more like pro football, to your point, which, I think is important. But the thing that I noticed, the thing that really struck me is your time for individual work and practice has really gone away. That doesn't happen as much as it used to. So a lot of times when you're getting trained on footwork, on route depth, on how you run stunts, how you pick up stunts, those are the things that you're not getting work on. And these guys there's a lot of good players that come out of college that aren't prepared for the NFL, because once you get there and, you're going against guys that are the best of the best, there's not a lot of patience for you. Mm-hmm. And if you don't succeed, you're going to be out. And a lot of times these guys, and I'm not talking about, the top 10 picks in the draft, because those guys are just athletically outstanding. But, there's a lot of third, fourth, fifth rounders that just aren't prepared to play, and then they don't make it. And, who knows if they get a chance on a practice squad. But so this is an opportunity for those guys to reform their skills. And, if you can come to a place where you're getting the same type of offenses that they run in the NFL, defenses that they run, it's a great place for these guys to actually get reps and get better and work on their technique. So I think this is I'm really excited about it, just because, like I said, to see Zach where he needed that extra time to try to get back into it, it gave him a place. And it certainly wasn't like it is now. I think they've done a great job, with this league of trying to give players chances to prepare to get better. And, probably and hopefully put in a good brand of football and win some games here in Memphis.
You earned a Super Bowl ring as the offensive coordinator of the Steelers back in 2000, and my years mixed up. Was it 2006, I think? And that was obviously got to be one of the great memories of your career. What was that like, of being a part of that Steelers organization and winning a Super Bowl?
Well, it was incredible. They've done a great job with the Steelers over the years. I think everybody knows that. But, we had a young quarterback in Ben Roethlisberger. It was only his second year. The first year that we had him, when we drafted him, we won 15 games, and we lost in the championship game. So coming back the second year, and being able to go the whole way. And we were the first team, because we actually only got back in as a wild card team. We weren't one of the teams that won their division. So we had to play 3 games on the road in the playoffs to get into the Super Bowl and then win the Super Bowl. So I think it was a testament to Coach Cowher and, his toughness, which I learned a lot. It was great to be able to coach under him and understand, why he'd been so successful. And, it was really a great experience. It was an awesome thing to be able to win 3 games on the road in the playoffs and then play Seattle in the Super Bowl and win that game. So there's just, everybody wants to do it, and we're so fortunate that we had the chance to get in and win it.
Who would you say, as you've come up in your career, who are the biggest influences of who you are as a coach?
That's a good question. I think Dan Hemming drafted me when I was a young player coming out of Georgia Tech. And, Dan was in the league for a long time and was a good offensive coach. And running his system, I just learned a lot. And then obviously Coach Cowher, working under Coach Cowher, and, even more importantly, working in the Steelers organization with Kevin Colbert and how they do things. I think that's where I really learned what was so important. I know when we went to Arizona, and Rod Graves was the GM there, and he was flexible enough where we could integrate some of the things that we had done at Pittsburgh, and it ended up us getting into another Super Bowl and almost winning it. So, I've been very, very lucky. I've had a lot of good coaches that have worked with me over the years. Coach Cowher was another one of those guys, like I said. So I've been very lucky. I've had a lot of good coaches.
And a lot of success. Just talked about almost getting the job done, getting to the Super Bowl. It's pretty amazing, though, with the Cardinals and coming close to winning another Super Bowl. This time would be as a head coach. But what was your experience like in your years in Tennessee with the Titans?
Well, I loved it. I got my start in college football at Vanderbilt. After I'd gotten out of the NFL, I was trying to decide as a player, I was trying to decide what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And another coach of mine, Rod Dowhauer, asked me if I wanted to come work at Vanderbilt. And I thought, this is a great chance to see if I can get into coaching and like coaching, at an SEC school. And so, once I got here, it just felt right, and it was great to get that opportunity. And then, that kind of just propelled everything forward. So, just been very lucky.
Well, congratulations, first of all. Welcome back to Pro Ball. Looking forward to seeing you here in Memphis coaching up the Showboats, Ken. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it, and we'll talk to you down the road.
Sounds good. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you so much, Coach. Good stuff. Ken Wisenhunt.
Folks, if you've got a move coming up, maybe a new home, maybe it's a new office space, whatever it is you're moving, wherever it is that you're moving, could be across town or across country, doesn't matter. You want to make sure you get the proper people to help you with that move, to do that move for you. You want to get professionals, not your lazy friends. Get the professionals. Black Tie Moving. That's the people to call. 901-316-6196. That's the number. Or you can go to the website at blacktiemoving.com/Memphis. Talk to the folks at Black Tie. They'll work with you to come up with that plan for your move, fitting your needs and fitting your budget, and making sure that your stuff is taken care of and you're taken care of, and you don't have a lot of that stress and worry that comes along with the moving process. A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, 5-star ratings all over online. People that use Black Tie Moving love the experience they have, and they rave about the experience you get when you use Black Tie Moving. So if you've got a move coming up, talk to the professionals, 316-6196, or go to blacktiemoving.com/Memphis.
You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Napa Cafe celebrates 26 years in 2024. Hi, I'm Glenda Hastings, owner of Napa Cafe, and I want to thank you for making us part of your dining experiences. If you are a first-time guest or have dined with us countless times, I want to thank you for making us part of your lives. Whether you're celebrating with the crowd or planning a cozy date night on the town, Napa Cafe can provide you an extraordinary evening. We have 5 dining rooms, including our private wine cellar, our Jan's room for 2 guests, and the Eleanor room for parties up to 60. Sit back, relax, and celebrate. Leave the cooking to us. Come see me at Napa Cafe, 5101 Sanderlin Avenue. We're open Wednesday through Saturday for dinner starting at 5 o'clock. We also offer curbside pickup from our full menu. For details on our stay-in, dine-out menu or reservations, visit our website at napacafe.com. Come join us as we celebrate 26 years of Napa Cafe in 2024. We can't wait to serve you.
Summer's heating up, and so are the savings at Choate's. We've got 3 incredible offers to make your season spectacular. First up, our Grill and Chill with Choate's Summer Special. Upgrade your HVAC system and choose between a free Yeti cooler or a Green Egg grill on select systems. Then power through any outage with Choate's generators. Be one of the first 50 customers to buy a generator and score a massive 75-inch TV or an iPad. Also, don't forget about our tankless water heater offer. Purchase a tankless water heater from Choate's and receive a premium toilet free. Don't wait. These offers are too good to last. Turn to the experts with Choates and call 347-8086 or visit us online today for your free estimate. Now introducing Choates Air Conditioning, Heating, Plumbing, and Generators. Choates, let our family serve your family.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everybody. 9:28 the time. Coming up in about 10 minutes, we will talk with sports writer and author Mike Silver, as he's written a new book, really cool book. It's called The Why is Everything, a story of football, rivalry, and revolution, where he got good access, I don't want to say total access, but access to 5 coaches that coached together on a Washington Redskins coaching staff a number of years ago. Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, Matt LaFleur, Mike McDaniel, and Raheem Morris, and about how, they're the young Turks right now in coaching in the NFL.
The ESPN has an article. They did their grades for the 30 Major League Baseball teams for this year. What grade would you give the Chicago White Sox?
F minus, 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 minus.
They stopped at 3 minuses. They're tough grades. They're tough graders, though. They gave where did they go? And I mean, granted, you got to grade it on a little bit of a different scale for some teams, but they gave the Dodgers. Where did they go? Dodgers a C.
Really? They battled injuries and still are going to win the West, National League West, and one of the top teams in baseball.
That's a tough scale to grade on.
What did they grade the Phillies?
They gave them an A minus, I believe it is.
Phillies clinched the NL East last night. That's their first division title since 2011.
Yeah, A minus for the Phillies. The A's, not the Oakland A's. Philadelphia gets an A minus, Kansas City A minus, Cleveland gets an A, and Milwaukee gets an A.
Might be a little too early.
That's the only A's.
Might be a little too early on the Royals. We'll see what happens this week. They drop out completely and don't make the postseason. Wouldn't be giving them an A minus. You mentioned A's.
Well, they lost 100 in what games last year?
Yeah, but I would drop them down.
Battling for the playoffs into the final week of the season.
Okay, but I would penalize them for falling apart in the end. You mentioned A's letter grades. I'm talking about the A's, the actual team in Oakland, who are wrapping up their long storied history in Oakland. And for young people, they're like, storied. Yeah, the Oakland A's were pretty good at one point with World Series titles. And the owner, John Fisher, of course, was Charlie Finley back in the day, the owner apologized for his team's impending departure from Oakland in a letter addressed to fans yesterday. Some of the things he said: we proposed and pursued 5 different locations in the Bay Area. And despite mutual and ongoing efforts to get a deal done for the Howard Terminal project, we came up short. I know there was great disappointment, even bitterness, though I wish I could speak to each one of you individually. I can tell you this from the heart. We tried. Staying in Oakland was our goal. It was our mission, and we failed to achieve it. And for that, I am genuinely sorry. Well,
nobody in Oakland believes a single word of that.
I was just going to say, if you want to believe them, to get out of that hellhole, to be honest with you, think about that Coliseum, how old that is, and they're still playing baseball. And that, now, I understand Fenway, I understand Wrigley, they're cathedrals. The Oakland Coliseum is not a cathedral. They're going to play in Sacramento for, 1 season or 2 seasons before they go to Las Vegas?
I don't remember when I think it's 2 years in Sacramento, if I'm not mistaken.
Have they already started? I would assume they started construction already, right? In Vegas?
I don't know where that exactly stands and if they've started or what their where they are as far as building that ballpark goes.
Just off the Strip.
You've got some really good series this week in Major League Baseball. You got the Dodgers-Padres.
Right.
With the Padres 3 games back in the West. You've got the Braves-Mets getting underway with the Mets up 2 on the Braves in the wild card race. And then last night you had the series between Seattle and Houston get underway. And Seattle won that game. They're 4 games back now of Houston, so they're still alive in the American League West as well. And then, of course, they're not head-to-head, but you got that race going on in the AL Central for the wild card spots with the Royals and Tigers both tied 1 game ahead of the Twins with in all likelihood 2 of the 3 getting in. But Seattle is also still a factor in that one as well, as they try and catch a battle for a wild card if they can't catch Houston.
Yeah, it's crazy. The Orioles are solid as the first playoff team in the American League. But then the Royals, the Tigers, the Twins, and the Mariners, separated by a game and a half, 4 teams. Red Sox are 3.5 out, but they're running out of time. Amazing. That's what he wanted when you added the extra wild card teams.
That's exactly. Because if you only had 1 wild card team in the American League, there would be nothing really to worry about this week.
If you had 1 in the National League, Padres would be up 3, so there'd still be a little intrigue. But the Padres, solid. Again, the Mets, Diamondbacks, and the Braves, 3 battling for 2 spots.
Mid-South Ag Equipment for all your equipment needs. Go see the folks at Mid-South Ag. They'll take care of you. Just south of Collierville on Goodman Road is where you'll find them. Easy to find if you take I-269, get off of the Goodman Road exit. They're just a half mile west. You can actually see it from 269. You can see all that equipment. They've got, of course, the Case IH Farm All series of tractors, bush hog equipment. They've got all kinds of equipment, new equipment, pre-owned equipment. If you need service on your equipment, they can take care of you there as well. If you go to MidSouthAg.com, that's the website where you can check out inventory. You can also see special deals they've got going on, whatever offers they have. You can find those at MidSouthAg.com. But it's always better to go see them in person. Again, just south of Collierville on Goodman Road, the actual address, 3044 Highway 302. And you can give them a call at 662-890-3141 for all your equipment needs. Go see the folks at Mid-South Ag Equipment.
Mike Silver joins us next. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You're a contractor and you need concrete coating and supplies in Memphis fast, and you get this answer? I think we can order that stuff, but you're going to have to wait a few days for delivery. Why wait? Get your concrete coatings and supplies now at TSS Supply, where everything you need is in stock. If you're working in the tri-state Tennessee, Arkansas, Mississippi area, everything you need for concrete coating is at TSS Supply, 5665 East Rains Road, Memphis. TSS Supply specializes only in concrete coatings and supplies all in one place. If you're looking for a particular item, need large quantities, or just have general questions, call 901-729-0565, 729-0565, or you can email your question to Brad at tsssupply.com. The friendly, knowledgeable folks at TSS Supply have over 150 years combined experience in concrete coatings, materials, and supplies. Come by and visit TSS Supply Friday, September 27th. Sports 56 will be broadcasting live from 7 to 10 a.m. with Greg and Eli, and then John Harden from 11 to 1. Sports 56 will have free giveaways plus breakfast and lunch during the live broadcast. TSS Supply, 5665 East Rains Road.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises. Just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it. Because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets, vegan and gluten-free options available, convenience, and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com. So whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli locations at Ridgeway and the Parkway Center, Upper Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and Goodman Road in Highland Ranch. Jason's Deli is wholesome food and no surprises.
Visit Frontier Western Store today for new shirts and boots. Frontier is your top Carhartt store in the Mid-South. There's thousands of in-stock shirts and jeans. They have the classic K87 pocket tee in every color they make, including new ones just released. Available small to 4X. Want new jeans? Frontier has you covered with super tough work denim by Carhartt. And you've got to check out their selection of Ariat jeans for men, women, and children. You'll love how easy it is to find the size and style you need. Have you seen Frontier's remodeled world-famous boot showroom? It continues to expand. New styles by Ariat just arrived, plus plenty of in-stock proven classics too. Whether you need work or dress boots, trust that Frontier's the place to come. See thousands of pairs of Ariat boots and thousands more by Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, Twisted X, and others. And Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so you know just the local shop to visit. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
The best I-dos start with Sissy's Blue. Discover bridal jewelry worthy of your big day at Sissy's Log Cabin, along with our spectacular experience that comes with our promise of exceptional quality, service, and brilliant natural diamonds. Experience our expansive selection when you stop by any of our 6 locations or shop online at sissyslogcabin.com. Find your perfect engagement ring only at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Memphis, it's official. Crab King Seafood is where it's at. For the most flavored seafood and the biggest plates, run to a Crab King's near you. Visit the Bartlett Cordova location at 7140 Stage Road. The price, the portions, the service is why Crab King's is #1. So don't be disappointed in seafood. Make the right choice the first time and every time. Make it Crab King's. Crab King's have only locally grown catfish. Come and devour tasty snow crabs, king crab, shrimp, salmon, catfish, calamari, and so much more. Enjoy Memphis's best tasting pasta with your choice of toppings. Visit the Bartlett Cordova location at 7140 Stage Road. Crab King's is open Wednesday through Sunday. Enjoy 50% off lunch portions and $1 fountain drinks. The #1 name in Cajun seafood is Crab King Seafood, a Memphis favorite. Crab King, 7140 Stage Road. Kings with the Z.
The 2025 Range Rover Sport sits right at the heart of the Land Rover lineup, offering a perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility. Smaller and more agile than a full-size Range Rover, it's a great option for everyone who wants luxury and practicality. Every model comes with 8-speed automatic transmission and all-wheel drive standard. Whether you navigate city streets or tackle rough terrain, Range Rover Sport has you covered. Every drive is powerful and breathtaking. The 2025 Range Rover Sport is the epitome of sporty luxury. Test drive one at Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City.
Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and this hour brought to you by James Floors and More. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 9:40 the time. Final 20 minutes here on this Tuesday edition of Sports 56 Mornings. Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 comes your way at the top of the hour. Tomorrow, Jerry Palm will join us from CBS Sports. DeMichael Cole among our guests as we talk Grizzlies and the news of the Derrick Rose waiver, that he will be now gone after just the 1 year in Memphis. Right now, we're very pleased to be joined by a longtime NFL writer, reporter, analyst, author. His name is Mike Silver. You can follow him on Twitter at Mike Silver. And he's also an author of a number of books, including a new one that is coming out, will be released on October 1st. It's called The Why Is Everything, a story of football, rivalry, and revolution. Mike Silver joins us now on Sports 56 Mornings. Mike, how are you?
Great. How are you guys doing?
Doing fantastic. Thank you for getting up early out there on the West Coast. We appreciate it. This is intriguing. I love this because we've heard about those coaches that were all together in Washington under Mike Shanahan, the 5 coaches led by Kyle Shanahan, who was the offensive coordinator. For those who don't know, Sean McVay, Matt LaFleur, Mike McDaniel, Raheem Morris, all these guys are friends and have come up through the ranks together. And you decided, hey, I'm going to write about all these guys. What prompted you to go ahead and do that? And then can you talk a little bit about the access you had, the access to these guys, and what makes them tick?
Yeah, and I've had to put up with them all for long enough and write about them for NFL.com and Yahoo and way back in the day, Sports Illustrated with Mike Shanahan. So I decided to put it all together. But, yeah, I saw Mike Shanahan and Steve Young in San Francisco in the early 90s kind of reshape their images together and do amazing things. Mike Shanahan then went to Denver, added the outside zone to that Bill Walsh influenced team he picked up in San Francisco and, won Super Bowls. And then in Washington, there was a ton of dysfunction, so predictably it didn't last. But they did some seismic things in the NFL, including that RG3 rookie season in 2012 where they did something pretty radical to their offense and ran it out of the pistol, and it looked unstoppable for a while. So, there is plenty of pettiness and rivalry between them, despite their connections, and obviously with Shanahan and McVay being division rivals in the NFC West, that intensified. But they're also doing things differently than it had been done in the past. They kind of question everything. They throw out a lot of old assumptions, and they're open to very radical things when the situation calls for it. So here we are. I wrap my arms all around it. I think people are going to be stoked. A lot of detail in there, and it kind of spans football as we go across the league. You see it everywhere. You look at the Minnesota Vikings right now, 3-0. You're like, wait, Kevin O'Connell, he's
right.
One of those guys. Last year it was C.J. Stroud's blown up the league. Bobby Slowick, he was a defensive guy that Shanahan moved over to offense, and he's from that tree. The Saints are going nuts the first two games. It's a Kubiak. So it's not everything great that's going on in football, but the tentacles have spread in an incredible way.
With the title, The Why is Everything, talk a little bit about why that is the title and what that means.
These guys talk about the why incessantly. It wouldn't be one of my favorite terms. It's kind of a grammatical atrocity. But, I think there was this old kind of vibe in NFL circles, meathead culture, kind of like, do it because it works. It's always been done this way. This is the way Bill Walsh did it, and these plays just work. Well, why? It doesn't matter. Just do what we say. So these guys are coming at it from a much different orientation. They want to know exactly what the purpose is, and they want to be able to explain to their players so that they know this is the thing we're doing. This is what it's setting up. This is exactly why you should be doing it. And so they do take a lot of pride in that, and they will talk about their schemes, especially their offensive schemes. They'll say, this isn't a playbook. This isn't us just picking from a menu and deciding, let's run this play because it's cool. It's an ecosystem. We have a system. We have plays that we run off it. We set other things up, and then we have counters to your counter. And really, one of the main things they try to do schematically is, and Kyle Shanahan really is a genius when it comes to this and a pioneer, is he learns the rules of the opposing defense and then uses those rules against them to the point where he can, quote, break a defense. Famously, he broke the Seattle 3 scheme one game. They had these rules that called for them to cover outside receivers on a certain play. So he stuck 2 tight ends offset on the inside and ran them on go routes up the middle, and somebody got a wide open touchdown. And Richard Sherman and friends were not happy on the sideline by that development. So, there's a lot of fun stuff like that. But yes, they do talk about the why as if it's this hollowed thing. And finally, I think I just got beaten down and said, okay, fine, you can have this grammatical atrocity, but the subhead is the more traditional, a story of football, rivalry, and revolution.
About to pull out a John Facenda on us here, I think.
Exactly.
There he is. NFL writer Mike Silver joining us on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest lines. Again, the new book is called The Why is Everything, a story of football, rivalry, and revolution. Mike, give us a quick little analysis of the 5 guys from your perspective of having dealt with these guys, interviewed them, talked to them, seen them in action. Describe each one of those 5 coaches.
Well, they're all crazy because they are NFL coaches. So they're all a little nuts. I've known Kyle since he's 13, and I've watched him very closely covering him the last couple of years daily in San Francisco. He's a guy who isn't shy about his belief that he's the smartest guy in the room and hasn't been, and has always felt that scheme is more important than interpersonal relations, but he's gotten a lot better at the latter, just doesn't care as much about them as some. Sean McVay's really different. He is also, very brilliant schematically, but really into the leadership thing, galvanizing a group of people. Kind of sounds like a self-help book sometimes, but gets away with it because he's so engaging in person and actually fun, so somehow pulls that off. Mike McDaniel, we've all seen in Miami, the guy that I've known for years. I kind of hate sharing him, the dry sense of humor, the quirkiness, the offbeat, nutty guy, but that's him. He's got an incredible backstory that we get into pretty early in the book, that just an improbable, very improbable person to be an NFL head coach, but also has a lot of confidence and really, as Chris Cooley, the former great Redskins tight end, said in the book, he's Matt Damon, how do you like them apples smart? Good Will Hunting reference. Right. And then, then we go to Matt LaFleur, who was down with the Titans for 1 year. He and Mike Vrabel, unbelievable stylistic clash. Two guys I like a lot, but should probably not be in the same building for more than one season. He's a guy who's, he's kind of earnest and sensitive at his core. There's a scene in the book where they're on a flight back from a Washington game, and Chris Cooley again decides he's going to play a prank. So he passes out paper and pencils to everyone on the plane, all the players, and says he's doing a poll of least popular assistant coach. And of course, it's rigged, and so there's no actual poll. But when he announces the results, he decides to tell Matt LaFleur that he's the second least popular, knowing that will also set him off. And Matt LaFleur actually he either cries or his eyes get very, very wet and moist until Chris Cooley lets him know, no, it's actually a prank. So I love that one. And, but yeah, he's got a real hard edge to him that he's honed over the years. And by the way, coaching his butt off this year with Jordan Love out.
Sure is.
If you had told me Malik Willis was going to win 2 NFL games as a starter in September, I'm with you.
I'm with you, Mike.
Yeah, I know you guys know. So, and then Raheem Morris, I just love. He was a young head coach in Tampa, had some success that second year, almost went to the playoffs with a very young, depleted roster, and by his own admission, was immature in some ways. And then he had to go back and rebuild it, starting in Washington. He's a guy who got switched over to offense in Atlanta by Kyle Shanahan before they went on that Super Bowl run. And so he's been on both sides of the ball, understands it great, played a pivotal role in that Rams Super Bowl championship as Sean McVay's defensive coordinator, and finally, at long last, is getting his second chance. And I think he's going to be great. Just, a person who just has a natural sense of humor and warmth about him, but because of that can say very biting, direct things and get away with it because people like him so much. And I think to me that's a fascinating thing. You had a chance to hire Bill Belichick, instead they hired Raheem Morris. To me, that's as much of a changing of the guard, harbinger as anything.
You mentioned Shanahan not afraid to believe that you're the smartest guy in the room. Do they all believe they're the smartest guy in the room? And if you got all of them in a room and asked them who the smartest guy in there, would you ever get agreement?
I think they'd probably all say Kyle or McDaniel, and then Kyle and McDaniel would each say themselves. Is probably
really?
how
Okay.
it would go. And even McVay, who is, we know him with the memory and all that. I think if you gave McVay truth serum, he would probably say Kyle. But here's the thing. They were all, the way it was set up in Washington is Kyle was the decider, and they were the young guys running in, with crazy ideas, hoping he'd run one of their plays and trying to get his approval. So, that dynamic, though he and McVay have obviously competed, and, McVay's won a Super Bowl, he hasn't, et cetera, they all kind of have that thing with him where he's the standard. Now, McDaniel, we talk a lot about in the book, he kind of felt like he'd been held down by Shanahan, though they were friends. He felt like he was under his thumb for a long time, had some personal circumstances with alcohol that had kind of held him back, and Shanahan, I don't know if he used that against him, but kind of made it clear to Mike, like, I'm not sure if you're ready to go out on your own. I'm not sure how the pressure would be, all the while hoarding perhaps the greatest run game strategist of our time and one of the great strategists, period. When he got to Miami, we call that chapter the liberation of Mike McDaniel, because he very, very much was eager to get out on his own. And I think readers will be amazed by the lengths Kyle Shanahan went to try to avoid Mike Shanahan getting that job. So, it all worked out well. But, yeah, Kyle's kind of the guy, and I liken it to, let's say the early days of the Silicon Valley. You had all these young guys who would go on, you had Steve Jobs and Andy Grove and all those guys working for one company and running, buddies, drinking, but also competing to see who could come up with the coolest thing, and then running in to try to get those ideas, greenlit. And Kyle Shanahan would have been the guy greenlighting in that analogy.
The old school guys that are still in the NFL, do they like hate this group, or do they appreciate the fact that they have evolved the game a little bit?
Yeah, they definitely did at first, I think. And again, part of that goes back to Kyle's interpersonal style. I don't think Kyle gave a lot of thought to presentation when he would explain that something was a dumb idea, or he knew a better way, or this isn't how it should be run. And, even when he was a quality control coach, and I remember, back then he admitted it to me a few years later that he probably could have worked on it. But Kyle went to UCLA for a year as his first coaching job. Then he goes to Tampa as John Gruden's quality control coach, and at the advice of his dad, famously sits in the defensive meeting in his spare time to learn defense. And it's Monty Kiffin, it's Mike Tomlin, Joe Barry, Raheem Morris, Rod Marinelli, just an incredible, collection, which turned out to be a huge, huge thing for him to understand that side of the ball. But it didn't take too long. At first he's charting and he's kind of grinding like all quality control coaches do, but eventually he's out there on the practice field and he's saying stuff like, when you say run a slant, everybody runs a slant differently. We need to say what a slant is. It should be exactly this way with this many steps. And John Gruden's kind of looking at him like, is this kid for real? But he wasn't wrong. The detail is kind of the key to the entire Shanahan scheme. But I think so. Yes, to answer your question, at first there was a lot of harumphing and blowback, understandably, and it is interesting that as good as these guys are, and we now see it, they were coaching for their job year after year. They largely were able to stay together because of weird circumstances. Kyle kept getting offensive coordinator jobs, but he had some success in Houston, and then you go Washington, a dysfunctional year in Cleveland where they actually played pretty well, but that was the Johnny Manziel year. I mean, it was that rivaled Redskin dysfunction, which is hard to do.
Yep.
And then that first season in Atlanta was not pretty, where a lot of clashes with Kyle Shanahan and Matt Ryan, to the point where they had to have it's described by various sources as marriage counseling, kumbaya sessions, or having beers, but they had to have an off-season summit to kind of try to iron some of that stuff out and come out the other side.
The book is called The Why Is Everything, a story of football, rivalry, and revolution. Longtime NFL writer and reporter Mike Silver is the author of this book. It will be released next Tuesday, October 1st. I think it's going to be a hit. It's a great topic. Mike, thank you so much for joining us, and best of luck with the book.
Thanks so much, and those pre-order links are all over my social media bios. I know at Amazon, you certainly can go, type in the title. So don't wait till October 1st. Get on that pre-order link now, and I really appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Mike. Take care. Appreciate it. All right, Crazy Coop is a great place for tailgating food, right? You want to have a great time at a tailgating party, whether it be high school football, whether it be college football, whatever the sport may be, the Crazy Coop makes sense, doesn't it? The best wings in town. Whole wings, boneless wings, over 32 mouth-watering secret sauces, jalapeno cheddar. You might love the barbecue bacon bourbon. That's my favorite. If you have 6 people or 60, kick off your game day with Crazy Coop party packs for at home or wherever you tailgate. Special bulk prices. They're available to you as well. Visit crazycoopstage.com to customize your wings and sauces like the Nashville Hot or the Crazy Hot Suicide. And don't forget to add garlic Parmesan fries, fried dill pickles, and refreshing carrot and celery sticks, just part of their great list of delicious sides to add to these delicious wings. For the full menu, visit crazycoopstage.com. They got burgers and catfish fillets, nuggets, Crazy Kid meals. That's crazycoopstage.com. You'd be crazy not to visit the Coop. The Crazy Coop is on Stage Road. It's west of Appling. And stay tuned. The new downtown location is getting closer to opening. Visit crazycoopstage.com. That'll do it for us today. I want to thank our guests, Connor O'Gara, Ken Wisenhunt, and Mike Silver. We're back tomorrow starting bright and early at 7 a.m. Jerry Palm to Michael Cole among our guests. Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 is coming up next. For Eli, for Elijah, for Zach, I'm Greg. Have a great day, everybody.